Okay, we should be live. I still need about 2 minutes to set up chat and do a Discord announcement. So feel free to skip the first minute or two as I get things ready if you're watching the VOD. Dang, I just realized that we're down 1 subscriber on YouTube. No respect. Feels bad, man. I'm trying to get 1,000 here and we're losing people. Alright, let's see. There you go. This is my announcement to everyone. What? What's going on, Jack? How you doing, brother? Alright, load. I think we're on chapter 4, right? I don't remember. All I know is wherever we left off last time, we were toward the end of a chapter. I was walking on the snow along the camellia fence when I saw Sachiko approaching from the opposite direction. How was your week, Jack? And how is your holiday beginning? Because I'm guessing you're gearing up for celebrations. My mom, I think, is going to a party, like literally right now. Across the street, they invited her for, I guess, a dinner. I'm not going. I don't know if I was invited. But I'm not going. I don't even know who the heck our neighbors are, which sounds sad to say, but a lot of the neighbors that we had originally have like moved throughout the years. So literally like all of our neighbors are like new neighbors. So I just don't know who's who anymore. I used to know everybody, now everybody is new, so I don't know anybody. Psst. Feels bad, man. Hey, fancy seeing you here. Narasaki, what are you doing here? Just out for a walk. What about you? You look pale. I drank too much. Drinking while the sun's still up will make you grow old faster, apparently. Doing it once in a blue moon won't kill me, will it? I got sauna warming up? Oh, man. See, that's already a celebration in itself. I wish I had that. I don't. I tried last year. I used to try to like take hot baths like in my home, and my bathtub is not anywhere near grand or anything. It's not the best. You're better off just showering. But I tried to take some like hot baths because I thought it'd be like relaxing and nice, a nice change of pace. And I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I was trying to do like bath salts, and bath salts like felt very uncomfortable. I wasn't liking it. I put a little bit of cinnamon like aroma oil in the bath. That was nice. Putting the cinnamon was nice, but it's also very pricey for a little bit of cinnamon extract or whatever it is. What else? I think I put something else in the water too, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Your sauna is definitely nicer than whatever I did. Might have a class of fine Japanese whiskey. Man, I don't have any whiskey. But the teacher that I work with, since she knows that I like sake, she got me a bottle of white peach sake, which I need to crack open and try. I don't know how it's gonna taste. You know, I've only had like Nagori sakes. I haven't had any like fruity sake, so this will be a first. But she got me a big bottle of it, so hopefully it's good stuff. Are you okay? What's going on, Mister? Yes, I was on my way to my room to rest. Oh, by the way, Mister, since you're a Genshin player, I got a question for you, buddy. So I did this morning. I was going hard playing Wind Trace on all 3 accounts, but for some reason, like the rewards go up to like 3,000 coins. You can still get Primo Gems. But they have me capped at 1,800 coins. Now, is that because I'll be able to get more as the weeks go on, or as the days go on, or... Like, why is there a cap of 1,800 right now? Because I think it's supposed to be like 3,000. It's kind of weird. I was having a lot of fun with Wind Trace, though. Sake for the sake of sake. Bro. Listen. I was happy enough to open it, man. Because I was like, you know what? At least you remembered I like sake, so let's give it a go. Let's give it a go soon, you know? Good. Don't forget to drink plenty of water before going to bed. Do you like vodka by any chance, Jack? Because if so, I got a cool song I can send you. I'm fairly sure the cap goes up daily. Okay, that's what I was assuming. That's what I was banking on, because it didn't make sense. They were like, we'll give you primos up to 3,000 coins, but hey, you could only get 1,800 right now. And I'm like, this math don't add up. Thanks. Sachiko passed by me. I just wanted to say that. Bro, that was a tongue twister. Almost got me there. I turned around to see her back recede toward the mansion as she treaded the snow-covered path. I turned back and continued in the direction Sachiko came from. By the way, Jack, I got all your games in my wish list on Steam, and I saw they went on sale, so... Literally all of them are on sale, 50%, so I might get another one soon. Most likely Enigma if I get one. And then I'll save the rest for another time. Vodka's okay, I guess. Doesn't taste like much. Had it a few times. Yeah, I've never had it. But I feel like vodka and whiskey are two of the ones that are mentioned more often. Following the path created by her footsteps made it easier to walk across the snow. As I turned my attention toward the annex of the East Wing, I saw its door suddenly open, revealing an eye. I raised my hand to greet her. Sure is cold today. And I wore a long-sleeved trainer and some light-colored jeans. It was clear in the morning, so I didn't expect for all this snow to suddenly pile up. Well, I did tell you about how fickle the weather was here in the mountains. Looking at Anai's face nearly made me gasp. Her hair was fastened into long twin tails. I watched them sway in the cold breeze. How are you feeling? What do you mean? Anai looked at me with a frown. Sorry, I just remembered something, gotta run. Sachiko, are you in? I knocked on her door and strained my ears but couldn't hear a sound. I'm opening the door. The still air of the room escaped through the door as I opened it. I couldn't see Sachiko in her bed. Stepping into the room, I took a quick look around. Her bag was on the other side of the bed. Her pouch was on the dressing table. I walked closer to the window. There was a chessboard on the table. The pieces were in the same arrangement as we left them. An old doll sat in the chair by the window. I looked all over the mansion, and as I finally stepped outside, I ran into Kozue. Hey, another day of research? Yes. Kozue gave me a sideways glance. What about you? I was looking for something. I see. Kozue jumped from one stone to another on the stone path. Looking only at her profile, I couldn't properly read her expression. I could tell Sachiko wasn't inside as soon as I reached the library. After wandering the library for a while, I exchanged a few words with Kozue, then left. Meanwhile, I was thinking about Sachiko. I tried imagining where I would go if I was her, but I couldn't come up with anything. I walked through the forest in the evening glow. Hearing a rustle, I turned around to see a dove looking for food among the withered leaves. The sounds of noon birds had waned, and day slowly turned into night. Sachiko, if you can hear me, please, answer. I strained my ears, but heard nothing. Well, I guess that's that. I saw something sparkle in the woods beyond the dove. Continuing in that direction, I found a clear lake with the evening mountain reflected on its surface. Its light waves glimmered gently. I drew closer to the water, spotting a bunch of white clovers. I looked over them for a while, but couldn't find any four-leafed ones. Suddenly I heard a splash of water. The size of the ripples on the surface weren't enough to determine whether the sound was caused by a water bird or a fish. By the time I looked up, I realized that the sky had taken on a deep blue hue, giving home to countless stars. I tried looking for the Big Dipper in Cassiopeia, but found the Southern Cross instead. What? I rubbed my eyes and looked at the night sky again. I gave up on that and looked into the lake instead. I let out a gasp. The lake had disappeared, with a shoal taking its place. Wait, what's a shoal? What's the difference between a lake and a shoal? Because I'm pretty sure shoals also have water, do they not? Let me Google the definition of a shoal. A large number of fish swimming together? That's what it is? What? So the lake is gone and there's just a large number of fish swimming without a lake in the air? Let me read on. The mirror-like surface of the lake was no more. Instead, I saw countless puddles in the sand extending beyond the horizon. All of them reflected the night sky. I looked up at one of the puddles. My eyes met Sachiko's as she looked down on me from an inverted position. Why is my doorbell ringing? Is that the package my mom's been waiting for? Tips 1. Narasaki's clinic. Furnace has been unlocked. Chapter 5. Damn. You were right. There was like nothing left of Chapter 4. We could have just finished Chapter 4 last week. Psst. I may as well just change the stream name to Chapter 5 instead of what we have now. Alright, let's see if we can get through all of Chapter 5 today. Also, let me adjust some things. I am going to change the stream title because we barely had any Chapter 4 to speak of. And I'm going to also set the game and maybe some tags, just in case that helps us miraculously get some more viewers. I don't think those things are as effective on YouTube as they are on Twitch, at least not for live streams. Tags are definitely effective for some of like the videos that I do, like regular videos, but I don't know how effective they are for other things. Nevertheless, you never know what might help the algorithm. I have been thinking that I do have a tendency to swear a lot, and that probably makes the algorithm hate me, because the algorithm definitely knows that I swear, because I was adding subtitles to my video and I could tell I was like blurring out like some of the swear words. So it was like 3 swear words maybe within a 20-minute video, and I was like, dang, I know that's having an impact. So anyway, I made a promise to myself to try to swear less, but you know, it's more difficult during live streams and things like that aren't scripted. Like some of my content, like my shorts and, you know, regular videos, those are scripted. Like I write out what I'm gonna say ahead of time and I try to read with enough fluency to make it interesting. But during a live stream, when you're all natural, you're just throwing the F word around, the S word, like, you know, excitement happens, especially when I'm playing those games where I get like murdered, like Ender Lilies. And it's like, dang, the algorithm ain't gonna like this, but it can't be helped. As I sat down on the futon and gazed at the trees beyond the dark window, I felt something akin to a thin layer of mist cover my vision. I closed my eyes and opened them again. The Christmas tree returned to my field of view. As the light of the stars shining through its branches illuminated the room, it summoned voices and vague shapes as though in a shadow play. After I spent more time gazing at the tree, Mayuko returned to the room from the kitchen holding a transparent cup with water in it. I took it from her, had a quick sip of the cold liquid, then stretched my back. I'm so tired. Thanks for all you've done. I took another sip from the cup. I handed it back to Mayako and collapsed onto the futon. That's not very ladylike, Takako, said Mayako as she sat down in a traditional Japanese way, with her legs under her knees. Yo, I don't know how they sit like that, man. I feel like that would put a lot of weight on your legs and it'll like cut off circulation or something. Like, wouldn't your legs fall asleep? I don't feel like that's a good posture. I don't know. How come you're not tired? You worked more than me. Oh, I won't tire out from that much. I wouldn't exactly be qualified for this job if I did. I guess it's harder than it looks. Thanks. You're welcome. Although, if you want to express your gratitude, you can wake up early tomorrow and help me with the rest of the cleaning. I'll do my best. Mayako placed the cap on the tray by the pillow. I'm turning off the lights. Okay. Mayako pulled on the string and the room fell into darkness. Ah, wait. The lights turned on again. I stood up and walked to the door. Where are you going? I'm off to pick some flowers. In the middle of the night? Mayako made a puzzled face. Sure, it sounds fun. I'll be right back, so feel free to go back to sleep. That really is an odd time to pick flowers. It's like the middle of the night, isn't that when all the bugs are gonna come out and stuff? Thought girls didn't like bugs. Granted, Takako might be a little bit of a tomboy, but thought girls didn't like bugs, man. Okay, I could hear Maiko's voice through the gap of the closing door. The air in the corridor was cold, just like outside. I continued down the dim corridor until the corner. A silhouette of a tree rustled beyond the window. I washed my hands with freezing cold water, letting the chill seep into my bones. Afterwards, I turned off the tap and wiped the water off with a white towel next to the sink. I looked in the mirror, seeing my own eyes gazing back at me. Suddenly, I saw something move behind me. Oh, it's like Mirko-chan. I turned around. There was nothing there, save for the dimly lit corridor stretching into the darkness. I narrowed my eyes, trying to make out something. Little by little, I managed to make out the wallpaper at the end of the corridor. The shadows cast on it by the trees beyond the window made it look almost like a face in the moonlight. Oh snap. Man, Jack, we're getting more and more ghost stories the further into this we get. The silhouette of a person suddenly passed by that surreal face on the wall, only to disappear further into the darkness. Sanai? I walked to the end of the corridor and peeked beyond the corner. The spiral staircase was not lit up and instead led downward into complete darkness. I strained my ears but heard only the clanging of that contraption from outside, a metallic trinket attached to a wooden pole. I wonder if Mayuko knows that this place is like haunted. It's definitely haunted, bro. Welcome back. Mayuko greeted me as I returned. I staggered to the futons and chose to slip into Mayuko's instead of my own. Did something happen? I think I saw something in the mirror. Takako, I think we've already agreed on this. No ghost stories past 9 o'clock. Yeah, we did? But I really did see something in the corridor. I'm sure it's just the shadow of a tree branch or something. The gust of wind rattled the night duty room window. The trees outside continued to rustle. The metallic thing clanged against the wooden flagpole in the distance. I felt like I could smell the sea through a gap in the window. Mayuko stood up and clasped the string, serving as the light switch. I'm turning off the lights. I nodded, and with a short snap, the room fell into darkness. Only the uneven moonlight illuminated the world around me. Good night. Night. I closed my eyes and drifted off to sleep right away for a change. I had 2 dreams that night. One was about a plush toy, the other about one of my old trips. The 2 had no relation whatsoever, and I couldn't even remember which one I had first, until they completely blurred together in my memories, rendering that question meaningless to begin with. I was playing with the diary girl and the plush toys in the children's room. There were 4 plushies in total. An otter, a fat bird, a melon with arms and legs, and a doctor. Bro, it would have been funny if the freaking plushies that you guys have, like the Popo, would have flashed onto the screen. There were 4 plushies in total. Boom! Kickstarter. Order now. I got the otter from that aquarium I liked. A mother otter held many little otters in her embrace. The cubs, in turn, each held seashells. You could take the otter cubs off if you remove the magic tape on the mother's paw. As I got my own room for the first time in my life after we moved, it took me some time to get used to sleeping alone. As a result, this otter plush ended up keeping me company in bed many a night. The bird came from my late grandmother. I think it was supposed to talk if you pushed a certain part of it, but it either ran out of batteries or broke by the time I got it. It never let out a single peep in my presence. His voice is most likely pre-recorded. Perhaps it belonged to my grandmother even. However, I was much older when I realized that. By that time, that toy had moved to collect dust on a tall shelf and eventually disappeared altogether. I couldn't even remember where I got the melon plushie. His troubled face was really cute now that I thought about it. Back then, though, I was too young to read much into its expression and simply played with it by throwing it around. Being small enough to fit into my palm made it the perfect ball to throw around the room. I watched his arms flail in the air as he did all sorts of acrobatic tricks before crashing into the wall or ceiling. One day, however, I lost it. I only rediscovered it when I was already in high school. I was looking for something in the old closet when I found it all covered in dust. Despite the passage of time, its facial expression remained the same. The diary girl brought the doctor toy. Apparently it was the mascot of some hospital. It originally belonged to a kindergarten she attended, but she liked it so much that the nurse ended up giving it to her as a present. We would sometimes take out our toys and play together when we were still in our early years of elementary school. This time we tried to make a play with our plushies as the characters, but we failed to construct any sort of continuous story in the end. I stopped the car and stepped out onto the cape, stretching into the sea. Only a low fence, its wood mostly rotted away, separated me from the water below. I came closer to look at the huge bridge, partially obscured by the mist. I could see the port town beyond the dark sea. The cables holding up the bridge glowed gently between the dark night sky and the boundless black sea. Countless lights also sparkled in the direction of the city. This is bright enough to be seen from space, I bet. More than anything, that example makes me think of that TV show about squid fishing. Hey, do you think that bright area on the bank was where that crab sign was? I pointed at the brightest part of the port town. They have night tours too, so it's highly possible. I wonder where the cable cars are. They go straight down to the waterfront, so probably around there. Sachiko leaned against the fence with one hand, then pointed at the lights in the distance with the other. She slowly trailed her finger along the slope. A gust of cold wind swept across the cape, making me shiver. I let out a sneeze. It's pretty cold by the sea at night, isn't it? Why didn't you bring your jacket? Sachiko took out a thermos bottle and filled its cap with some hot coffee. I sipped it slowly so as not to get burned, feeling its bitter taste and heat warming my chest from the inside. I'm all warmed up now. Just don't catch a cold out here. I won't. Do you want some, Sachiko? I extended the half-full cup to her. No. Okay then. I finished the coffee and handed her back the thermos bottle cap. She shook it up and down a few times to dispose of any remaining liquid, then fastened it to the bottle. I should have bought my camera. Is it in the car? I think I left it at the hotel. Too bad. Oh boy, I really wanted a picture with you. I shaved my fingers into a picture frame and directed it at Sachiko, who placed a hand on her hips and made a pose. Burn this into your retinas while you can. Will do. Did that picture come out well? Extremely. Glad to hear that, but I need something more impactful to make sure I never forget this. I leaned closer to her. She too turned her face to me. Might as well. Here you go, the good stuff. The good stuff! I wrapped my arm around Sachiko's waist and pressed against her. Her long hair brushed against my hand. Man, this is back in the days when they were happy. The scenery here is definitely something you wouldn't forget. I'm glad we came. Yeah. Makes me wonder how many of the people over there are even aware of the beauty of this town. I imagine it's not many. This is what the thumbnail should be. This is what the thumbnail should be. Gonna change the thumbnail later. Tips 3. We're getting a lot of tips. Dang, 3 in one shot plus the ones that I got for finishing chapter 4. Soft footsteps reverberated between the corridor's walls as my heels slipped out of the slippers and hit against the floor with every step. The sound disappeared as I slowed my pace. The sun was still high in the west sky. A long ridge extended in the background of the west ward. The sky, its hue a warm mixture of yellow, crimson, and purple, stretched above it. It was still relatively bright outside. This was the time when the interior lights would begin to flicker on. As I observed the patterns the artificial light cast on the windowsill, I tried humming the tune I'd heard in the shopping district with Mayuko, but couldn't remember the melody. In the end, it came out as a bit of a mess. I gave up and realized my heels were hitting against the floor again. That's 5 tips? 5? That's too many, bro. 5 tips is basically an entire chapter in itself. I knocked on the night duty room's door. Mayuko? I opened the door to find the room dark and empty. Removing my slippers, I stepped inside and flipped the light switch. However, even after pulling the string dangling from above, the room remained dark. What the frick? I flipped the switch on the wall again. This time lights came on. Oh, great. I let out a sigh and continued to the kitchen while stretching my hands. I filled the kettle of water, placed it on the stove, and lit the flames below it. Then I rose on my tiptoes to open the cabinet above me. After confirming its contents, I closed it back up. Next, I opened the cabinet located further into the kitchen. I took out a pack of sweet bean jelly from it. Okay, you know what? Let me ask you something, Jack. As somebody who's been to Japan, how do you feel about like all those like sweet bean fillings? I'm pretty sure you must have tried them. Cause I think I tried one. It was like one of those like, you know, bean paste, jelly, sweet buns, whatever the heck you want to call them. I tried it and I just didn't like it. I did like melon pan. That was pretty good. I don't think that had a filling from what I remember. That was pretty good, melon pan. But the thing with like the bean inside, that one I wasn't really a fan of. But like they always mention it a lot in like Japanese, I guess, dessert conversations. Like it's spoken of often to the point that you would think that it's really good, but it's just not. It's not good. And I can see you're saying it's terrible and overrated, so I just don't understand why it's overrated. Because, you know, a lot of things that do have like a jam or jelly filling usually are good. I do like jelly fillings. It's like jelly donuts are like my favorite donuts. And I like Boston cream donuts. That's my second favorite. You know, I like to have a cream inside. That's usually a good thing. But the bean ones, just not good, man. It seems to have hardened over time. I chopped it into small pieces, then placed them all on a small plate. I grabbed a pack of toothpicks from the shelf and stuck one into each piece. As I removed 2 teacups from the shelf and finished washing the knife, a continuous high-pitched sound began filling the room. I filled the teapot with green tea leaves and freshly boiled water and placed it on the tray, right next to the teacups and the pieces of hardened sweet bean jelly. Man, I should probably make some green tea after I'm done streaming. That sounds good. Just as I finished parting the curtains and placing the tray on the table, something black abruptly passed through my field of vision. Whoa. It's sour, not sweet, so not a jam. Dang. What would you call it then? Just a filling? The tray clattered on the table as I staggered backwards a bit. Following the black thing with my gaze, I realized it was a butterfly that had somehow found its way into the room. It's a butterfly of death. And how did you get in here? I glanced at the white flower vase on the windowsill. The butterfly landed on the dried up camphor tree branch. Every time I see that word camphor, I think about how I got like a really bad rash back this spring. And I can't confirm, but I think it's because this lotion I was using had camphor as a main ingredient. It was supposed to be like a cooling lotion in case when you have like aches and pains. But I got like a really bad rash, and I think camphor might have been the reason. Like I might have a camphor allergy, but the doctor couldn't really confirm because, yeah, it could have been a lot of things at that time. It could have also been something that I ate that we weren't sure if I was allergic to, so it could have been that, or it could have been the lotion. It was most likely the lotion, though, because the first question he asked was, have you tried anything topical, like on your skin? And I was like, well, I have this camphor lotion. So, you know, if his first guess was that it was a lotion, then I think it might have been the camphor, bro. Japan has a pretty different food palette in general. I mean, you know, but usually they make some banger stuff, right? Like, miso soup is hands down, as of right now, out of all the soups that I've tried, it's hands down the best soup in the world. Like, okay, there's some people that make it terrible. I've had terrible miso soups. But when it's made well, it's the best soup in the world. Hands down, bro. And then, you know, they got like the oyakodon. Oyakodon is like the best dish ever. Got the chicken, you got the runny egg, the dashi stock, some scallions. Like, that's a banging combo for white rice. But, you know, sometimes people mess up oyakodon too. And I'll tell you why. Like, one guy, he made oyakodon for me at a restaurant. And, like, everything was so, like, large. Like, there were large pieces of carrots, large pieces of scallions. I feel like the vegetables are supposed to be diced very finely. Because, like, if I'm eating, I want to feel like I'm chewing the rice and the chicken, and I'm tasting the rice and the chicken and the dashi. I don't want to feel like I'm chewing and tasting carrots. Because then it doesn't taste like an oyakodon, it tastes like a salad. And that's basically what it felt like. It felt like I was eating a giant salad instead of an oyakodon, because they didn't really cut the vegetables well, and there was so many pieces of vegetable in it. So that oyakodon sucked. But, you know, I've had a lot of really good ones that are just like god tier, best dish ever consumed. And, you know, they have a lot of other good things as well, but, you know, I should digress. Raw seafood is not up my alley. You probably heard me say it before. I don't want to risk it. I have too many friends that got food poisoning from sushi. There's great dishes, even a lot of them, but those are overlaps with the Western palate, if you ask me. That I could agree with. Like, everything fried is good in Japan, or grilled. Give me examples. I don't really eat a lot of fried food, so I don't know. I mean, takoyaki maybe? Would that be considered fried or grilled? I'm not sure. But takoyaki is freaking good. Although, there's something weird about takoyaki where, first of all, I don't like what they put on top. The fermented tuna flakes. I think they call it like katsuoboshi or something. That I don't like. So usually I tell them to not put that on it. I'll just have like the sauce, I guess. Like the brown sauce or whatever. And like the actual like dumpling. And then that's good. But at the same time, I feel like after I eat like a certain number of them, like 3 or 4 of them, it starts to feel kind of like repugnant, I think is the right word. It just sort of loses its allure. Like the first 3 will be like bussin', and then after that, it's like, I'm over it. They also love tofu, which I think at best is like tasteless and at worst unpleasant. I don't see what's there to love about it. Okay. I have a bone to pick with that statement, okay? I will agree that tofu is tasteless. I will agree with that. But they put it in miso soup. And in the miso soup, since you already have like the miso soup, like the broth flavor and all that, like, you don't mind that the tofu is there. Either way, it's good. And the good thing about tofu, I don't know if you notice, is that it's a complete protein. It has all the amino acids that you need. So that's the good thing about tofu. It's like a freaking like overpowered protein. Like, it's just very good for your health. And they sneak it into foods like mapo tofu curry, whatever you call it. Mapo tofu? Yeah, mapo tofu. And like miso soup. They have a way of like weaving it into dishes so that it's like more enjoyable. So you get all the health benefits with like flavor weaved into it. I don't know, man. I think you gotta give the tofu another chance, man. Trust me, it's just so health. All bowls like oyakodon you mentioned, yakiniku, Yeah, bro, I gotta try. Wait, yakiniku is what I think it is, right? The skewers. Yakiniku. Yakiniku grilled meat. I'm pretty sure it's the skewers, though, right? I've been meaning to try yakiniku at a Japanese place that I've been going to. I haven't gone in a while though, because it's like just so freaking like bitter cold, and it's like a little bit of a commute and then a walk. I don't know when I'm gonna go. I'm kind of sick right now. Plus it's the holidays, so I guess I'm not going. That's yakitori. That's also good. Okay, so yakitori is what I've been meaning to try. So yakiniku, from the sound of it, yeah, I was about to say this sounds like Korean barbecue. Ramen I've had udon. I just tried udon not too long ago. I don't know if I told you or if you saw. I think I might have posted in the Discord. But that's some good shit. Udon really good. I gave tofu enough chances? Not like this. Omu rice? I haven't had omu rice. I mean, I tried, because it's like, omu rice though, I feel like, and I could be wrong, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the only good thing about omu rice is like the presentation, in terms of like what makes it special. Because it's basically just omelet and egg. And I can make omelet and egg that'll taste good, but it won't be omu rice because I can't nail the presentation. But it's still good tasting rice and good tasting omelet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything special about it beyond presentation. Tempura I haven't tried. I want to try that too though, then I gotta try that. Tempura is usually seafood and vegetables. Shrimp or white fish. Yeah, I usually eat shrimp, I think. Hamburg steak I've never had. I remember Hamburg steak, I think, was like freaking episode 3, if I'm not mistaken, of Food Wars. When he made it for the old lady in order to get into the dormitory. But he made it like with canned mackerel. That was pretty bussin' that episode. I mean, like season 1 was just good, man. Yeah, I might want to try Hamburg steak, man. Fuck. I'm like looking at the pictures now, man. You got me going here. You got me going. I'm literally gonna add these to my okonomiyaki. I've had it both professionally done in like Japanese restaurants, and it was good. And I try to make it myself. The problem when I made it myself was that, like, I noticed that when the restaurants that I went to made it, they made it kind of like thin. Like, it was basically like legit, like a pancake, right? And it was good. But when I made it, it came out too thick, and that kind of, like, it still had flavor and all that. It was still good, but you know, it just wasn't the right texture and all that. Lots of examples of great fried, grilled foods. Pretty basic but good. Tempura is always great, whatever it's made of. Super typical Japanese food. Man, you're killing me, man. I gotta go to a freaking Japanese restaurant. I might even have to order delivery. There's a Japanese restaurant not too far from us that delivers. But I really like the one that I like have to commute for, because that one's like a really nice sit down spot, and you know, sit down adds something to the experience, makes it very relaxing. And the freaking customer service is really polite and all that. They're very warm, friendly. I like it there. Plus, I like that neighborhood where it's located. It's a very nice neighborhood. I see. I took the notebook from the shelf. The butterfly passed right by my face again. I followed it with my gaze as it flew toward the ceiling, its black blue striped wings vigorously fluttering in the air. I sat down on the reddish-brown futon, placing the notebook on the table while resting my chin on my palms, and continued observing the butterfly. You know what, Jack? You're gonna make me right now. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look up right now what days might be good in terms of weather. And I might go like in the middle of the week since we have vacation. And I might just go out there, man. Have a good time. Treat myself to some good food. It looks like every day is gonna be good except for Saturday and Sunday. Which today is Saturday, and then tomorrow, I guess, is Sunday. So these 2 days are bad. But after that, once Monday comes, it seems like Monday through Friday is gonna be good weather. Wednesday through Friday in particular having like much warmer temperatures. Maybe like a Friday, you know? Wait, what's Friday? Friday is yeah, Friday's a good day because it's not New Year's Eve. It's like the 30th. That's a good day. I might do that. Alright, Jack. You've convinced me. Friday might be Japanese food day. And I will ping you specifically the picture, that way you can know that I celebrated in your honor. I realized I was beginning to treat it very carefully. After all, I now knew it belonged to Sachiko. It almost felt like she was telling me about the past I had forgotten. Aw, this is some romantic stuff going on. Sachiko's way of saying come back to me? Well, not really, because Narasaki sent it to her, so Narasaki's way of saying come back to Sachiko. September 22, 1975. The clouds that had been covering the sky since early in the morning began to shower the ground with rain come noon, forcing us to change up our plans of playing outside and instead settle for a game of musical chairs inside. The children circled around a bunch of chairs as a simple piano melody played in the room. Nabe and sukiyaki too. So many good foods in Japan. I don't know what nabe is. Let me look that one up. Sukiyaki I know is like the really thin beef. I think I tried to make it myself one time because like there's this Japanese grocery that sells the sukiyaki meat and then you just have to like make it yourself. I don't know if I made it quite as good as a restaurant would though. I definitely want to try it from a restaurant. Nabe, which is nabe mono. Oh, it's hot pot. Yo, I've never had hot pot. I want to. That's another thing on my list, man. So, me and my friend one time, we went to a restaurant, and the restaurant had, for about $35, you could either get unlimited Korean barbecue, or you could get, I think, like 1 or 2 rounds of hot pot. So we went for the Korean barbecue that day, and we had like squid, duck, beef, chicken, like literally just pork, like every meat basically. And we had like 3 rounds where they just kept bringing us like all these different meats. Like, okay, bring us this. So we got like 5 meats, then round 2, bring us this, another 5 meats, then round 3, bring us this, that, and that, another 5 meats, and that was basically like our Korean barbecue experience. But everybody else I think that we dined with, because they made you share a room with a bunch of strangers, and the other strangers, we were all talking together, it was a fun time. I think they all got hot pot. One girl was like really cool, she like shared her Instagram with us and everything, we added each other, and she's like, she travels around the world, right? And it's crazy because like, to this day, like we met her like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. To this day, she still travels all around the world. And she's even been in situations where she's been like kidnapped and somehow I guess got saved, and she's still traveling all over the place by herself, like in all these like crazy areas where it's like you might get kidnapped again, don't go there. But she's still like traveling around the world. I don't know, man. You meet a lot of crazy people in life, I tell you. But that doesn't mean that all of games for a second. Well, that's not good. That's alright, we're alive, I think. Are we alive? Yeah, it had like less than 1%. I think it said like 0.6% dropped frames. But it was really pissed about those dropped frames. Some places like Thailand are bad about that. Bad about what? Oh, like getting kidnapped? People get kidnapped in Thailand? I've been eating a lot of Thai food lately, and it's like an immense pleasure. It's really good. The children circled around a bunch of chairs, a simple piano melody played in the room. As I failed to grab a chair in the first round, I was now watching them play from the sidelines. Takako was still with the others, alert and ready for the song to stop playing at any second. She had a dead serious expression on her face, reminding me of cowboys during quick draw scenes in western flicks. My sister went to Thailand and basically taxied out of airport, held them hostage to rip them off. Dang, how much did they rip them off for? I had a friend who, she was a flight attendant, and she said that like one of the planes that she was working on, they stopped somewhere in Africa, I forgot which country, but they stopped somewhere in Africa and they didn't get out the plane. They stayed in the plane at the airport, but literally right outside the airport, there were just people everywhere casually walking around with machetes, and they were just like in the airplane like, what the fuck? Well, there goes my swear, so there you go. The algorithm's gonna hate me. If I'm a good boy, I'll try to edit out that swear later. Tried to force them to withdraw money from ATM. Oh god, but they managed to make a scene and escape. Dang. That's not good. Man. I don't know, dude. That's why, like, in my mind, I would like to, like, go to places like that. I want to be a world traveler. It sounds fun, right? But then, like, there are countries like that where it's like, yeah, you might have a good time and then some shady stuff might happen. It's just, I don't know. You gotta choose your spots carefully where you're going. The children dashed toward the chairs. Takako was the first to react and started toward the closest one, but due to her position, she was further away from either of the chairs than the children around her. Takako gave up on the chair to the left, seeing how a boy had almost already reached it. Instead, she twisted her body and leaped toward the chair to the right. She crashed into the shoulder of the boy who was about to sit down on it and swept him away before ultimately landing on the chair. The chair tilted to the side on two of its legs, but Takako managed to bounce it back down. That day marked her first ever victory in a game of musical chairs, her eyes sparkling in triumph. Takako received a golden origami medal from the nurse. She spent the rest of the day with that thing dangling from her neck. Takako's mother was the first to show up when it was time for us to go home. Before leaving, Takako handed the medal to me. I watched it sparkle in the evening sun up until my parents came to pick me up. This whiskey is strong stuff. Moonglow 2018 limited edition. I don't know much about that, but it reminds me of, I don't know if I should talk about this on stream, because I think this is highly sus, but I'm gonna say it because we're both adults here. It reminds me of that liquor that people talk about that's like illegal, called moonshine. That's what I thought you were saying at first. I was like, what the heck, is this whiskey a variation of moonshine? But then I was like, oh, Moonglow, that's a little different. But apparently moonshine is usually produced illegally, and it's a high proof liquor. I don't know what that means, high proof. It's also homemade and unaged whiskey. Oh, so you... I don't know. I don't know if I want to say you're familiar with that since it's illegal. But you probably heard of that. It's whiskey. Illegal whiskey, moonshine. Well, I learned something new that I didn't know. I knew a little bit about it, not quite enough. Yeah, high alcohol content for real. I felt a bit sleepy as I finished reading that short passage. The butterfly was still flapping its black wings and was now flying in the direction of the closed window. I thought it would crash into the glass, but it slowed down just a few centimeters before that, instead landing on the curtain. Tired? Or perhaps it was sulky in the fact that it couldn't escape. Just chill a little. I'm tired too. Besides, it wouldn't be nice of you to leave without even saying a word to my uncle, now would it? You see, in human society, debts need to be repaid, even if it's just food and shelter. Don't you think that should apply to butterflies as well? Bro, I can't believe she's charging the butterfly rent, bro. It seemed as though the insect had shaken its head. It had its gaze fixed on the white vase. Specifically a pupa still attached to a leaf on the camphor tree branch. Well, I guess your situation is a bit different. The butterfly remained still, seemingly considered my words. Perhaps it really was sulking about not being able to go outside, but why did I assume it wanted to go there to begin with? I gave it another scrutinizing look. Well, I can understand how you feel. I imagine it feels a lot better to fly in a wide, open space while surrounded by fresh air. There are flowers or honey you can eat, and if you're lucky, you might even find someone to have children with. The butterfly slowly spread its wings as if trying to say that I didn't need to state the obvious. But it's not all fun and games outside. If you're unlucky, you might get eaten by a bird or get trapped in the web of a spider. If it rained, your wings would get moist and you'd have trouble flying. You'll face no such dangers in here. The butterfly remained still with its wings spread. Perhaps it was thinking, or maybe the way it showed off the blue lines on its wings meant to convey agreement. I don't think it's categorically illegal, but it's what people make during Prohibition. Capitalism, H.O. Dang. I mean, if you're making it at home, wouldn't that be illegal in itself? I mean, I'm not sure about how alcohol laws work and if they work differently in different places, but I would assume you need some sort of like license to produce alcohol, at the very least. I don't know if you're like legally allowed to just make it with no restrictions under the radar. I'll bring you a fresh flower if you stay. That's the least I can do. The butterfly slowly closed its wings. Or would you rather go outside after all? It spread its wings again. Thought I gave it a pretty good deal, but the butterfly didn't seem all too fond of it. Okay then, but you'll still have to wait until Micah comes back. It's not illegal? Oh, That's interesting then. I think I have a friend, his brother works in like a sort of family-owned brewery. I think my friend's like half brother or something like that. Because I remember he was saying like, oh, I might get into the business with my brother if push comes to shove. And then another friend of mine, I know for a fact that she owns either a brewery or a wine company. It's very interesting, like the friends of mine that got involved with like alcohol production, because like, let's take the girl for example, right? When I was little, she was always like either the top performing student in my grade or one of the top 3 performers. And you never, you would think like, oh, someone like this is gonna grow up to be like a doctor or a lawyer or something. You never think like, oh, she's gonna grow up and she's gonna own a freaking winery. But look, hey man, she's happy as hell. You can tell she's happy with her business, so 100% respect to her. But that was just a surprise when I found out. I saw her on Instagram and that I was like, oh, that's what she's doing. That's pretty cool. A lot of my other friends went into physical therapy, which is interesting. Like 2 of my other friends who were also top performers, they went into physical therapy, which is like a really good and respectable profession, I think. I needed physical therapy myself this year for my knee and also for my back. And the knee specifically was because of the pandemic. So not exercising for 2 years like really weakened my legs. So I needed to get my legs strengthened again now that I was like going outside more and everything. And as for my back, that's also to some extent pandemic related because I was at home working from home, bad posture while working on the computer. So the pandemic just like gave me a strong need for physical therapy. But physical therapy is like really, really effective, man. I feel like, physical therapy, you hear about it and you think usually like it's for people who had an injury, an accident, or maybe for old people. But I really truly believe that even young people could benefit from physical therapy, or at the very least just stretching more. It's just so good. I have a friend who got into home brewing ale and ended up making an actual brewery, which is doing well now. That actually sounds really cool, man. I'm sure she'll be back before dark. There's a place near me that's supposed to be, I think, like a brewery. And I think they also sell like burgers and stuff. But it's kind of weird because like me and my friend walked in, right? And, you know, we were adults. We were like, I think at the time we went, this was before the pandemic. So we were, you know, we're still early 20s. But we were adults. We were clearly adults. And nobody came to serve us. And it was the type of place where they're supposed to at least serve you or ask, what do you need when you're at the counter? And they just ignored us. And, you know, we could have spoken up and been like, hey, can we place an order? Sure, but I don't know. We just felt awkward and we just left because it's like, we're here? Are you gonna take our order? And they just didn't take our order. We're just like, okay. So we just walked right back out and we went and ate somewhere else. It was just the weirdest fucking thing. I don't know. Oh, see, I cursed again, so bang. Banned. But yeah, I don't know, man. Cause like, literally every time you go somewhere, if you just stand at the counter, they'll say, "Can I help you? What would you like?" You know what I mean? They acknowledge you. They ask the opening question. It's not usually the customer that has to be like, can I place an order, please? Like that's not usually how that works. I placed one of my hands on the notebook and rested my chin on the other. Humans tend to stay with each other, but what about butterflies? I returned my gaze to the butterfly. Maybe it'll change your mind come morning. So then I said that it gets comfortable staying in the same place once you get used to it. The butterfly remained completely still with its wings spread. Perhaps it was waiting for the window to open. It seemed like it wanted to soar the skies. I remembered how I likened Sanai to a fish before drifting off to sleep once. Although fish swam in the sea, while butterflies soared through the sky. Besides, back then I was thinking about which place Sanai had adapted to, rather than where she wanted to be. I remembered how she asked me if I wanted to leave. It was nice to eat snacks with Mayako, read books with Sanai, and make fun of Kozue from time to time. Yeah, you know what I'm starting to notice? And, you know, I was confused. I thought I was wrong about this, and now I'm, like, kind of confused. But, Kozue's in both stories? Because, like, Sachiko and them talk to Kozue. And now Takako is mentioning Kozue. I'm pretty sure Takako has talked to Kozue. So is Kozue in both stories? I'm really confused about how like the timeline of this works. Because they both seem to know Kozue. I'm pretty sure they're both in the same setting, but in different time periods maybe? I don't know, man. This is interesting. Cause it didn't hit me at first that Kozue was in both stories. But it was starting to hit me and I was like doubtful of it. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just misremembering. But now, since I like just finished chapter 4, which had Kozue, and now I'm in chapter 5 and they're mentioning Kozue, now for sure I'm like, yeah, she is in both. Like, what's going on here? If I kept arranging events like that from time to time, I figured I'd never feel bored. I was certainly satisfied enough with this place to recommend it to the butterfly. Sanai said that she lost any reasons to go outside. I feel like I could understand what she meant now, more so than back then. I touched my ears, maybe I'd soon be able to breathe underwater as well. This game plays with your memory. So it happened to you too? Did you also get confused when you first played? Because it really is playing with my memory. It jumps around a lot. But that kind of makes it more interesting. It adds to the mystery. All the random chatter aside, this is a nice scene. Cool monologue. Dialogue. Yeah, it is cool for sure. I felt like I would if I remained in this place for a while longer. I turned into a fish, not a butterfly. I was slowly getting used to the serene life in here, that much was certain. Was that a good or a bad thing? I didn't know whether I wanted to stay here or leave. No wonder I couldn't understand the butterfly. It stayed still with its wings spread out. I fell in thought, gazing at the dazzling blue stripes on them. Staying here would be the easiest choice, but it would require a little effort on my part and contain no risks, but I looked at the darkening sky, feeling my head growing heavy. I raised my chin from my palms, lowered my hands on the table, and instead placed my left cheek on them. Finally, I dug my fingers into my hair to support my head. This position was the result of many years of experimenting and research. It has served me well since my school years and continued to be of use even after I joined society as a working adult. Though it was easy on the neck and the arms, it would mess up my hair, so there was still some room for improvement. I closed my eyes, savoring the comfort it provided me with. My exhausted body was on the verge of drifting off to sleep, however much like last time, a butterfly and a sonai in the form of a fish appeared in my mind's eye. I can't believe I'm actually treating this butterfly business so seriously. It confuses everyone? Okay. I'm glad it's not just me, because to some extent I expect myself to be a big brainer at times. But this game ain't making me feel like a big brainer. Perhaps I relaxed a bit too much. It wasn't like me to doubt myself or be tired to begin with. I felt the sensation of the notebook's letter cover against my skin. The Takako I read about was always energetic and pursued her goals straight as an arrow. Her mind was clear and she always knew what she wanted. She might have been a bit of a dunce at times, but it was all very endearing. Reading through the diary gradually made my memories return. It had things I had forgotten, and things I didn't know at all. Those passages contained mere glimpses into my life, but remembering them brought back other memories as well. They made me recall certain episodes of my life in striking detail, right down to the various scents I experienced on a given day. And whenever I thought back to my feelings from those times, I'd feel a smoldering fire come back to life deep within my heart. Sachiko brought back feelings of anxiety and uneasiness I had long forgotten. My memories of her warmed and brought the rusted mechanism of my heart back to life. Almost like they were repairing the missing cogs of the contraption, returning them to their intended positions. And yet this was but a small insignificant agitation of my heart at best. It was no more significant action than an ant climbing down upon an elephant's back or the faint ripples caused by a pebble thrown into a pool of water. If I closed the notebooks, the feelings would vanish, as if it were never there to begin with. Man, I was about to get all like teary-eyed hearing her like speak fondly of her memories of Sachiko, and now she's saying that it's all nothing. If she closes the book, she'll basically forget again. What the heck's going on here? She's tugging at my heartstrings in both ways, Jack. So then I said that the more she got used to this place, the harder it became to leave, but back then I didn't think much of it, yet now I couldn't tell whether that was a good or a bad thing. I put those two on imaginary scales. The arrow continued pointing at 0, refusing to move. But that wasn't enough of a reason to leave. I wanted to meet Sachiko one more time before I end up stuck here forever. I was sure that meeting her would help me remember everything and would fix the ringing in my ears as well. Should I remain here or not? I might find the answer to that question if I met her. I have to see her. As I found myself lost in those thoughts, the fish and butterflies slowly drew away from the back of my eyelids. There's a lot of very unique things in narrative structure that you don't really see used in fiction a lot. Can you give me examples without giving spoilers? Is there something that my small brain ain't realizing? I don't know if I'm that good at analysis. I figure you know more about the literary devices being used. And if they don't notice something usual, it can flow unnoticed by the reader too because it's not marked. I bet she's got pulled away by some mysterious force. The warm morning sun burned my eyes. Just 5 more minutes. Your coffee will get cold. A hand I extended toward the source of the voice fell limp onto the bed. I can't fight gravity. Thinking that made me feel even weaker. My body's getting heavier and heavier. At this rate, I'll start to just sink into the mattress and create a black hole, sucking in everything around me, light included. That's amazing. Why not pitch it to the physics conference? Anyways, quit goofing around and get up already. We're leaving as soon as you get dressed. I don't wanna. I reached out and pulled the first thing I grabbed to myself. Sachiko fell on top of me. Oh my god, bro! 2 kiss scenes today, and this one has some freaking side pie. Opening my eyelids, I saw her black eyes staring back at me. Oh my god, I raised my neck slightly and kissed her lips. I was once again blinded by light as she pulled her head and thus her curtain of black hair away from me. A moment later, she hurled her handbag at my face. They say this helps people with low blood pressure. Then get out of bed already. Okay. You know, Jack, I'm extremely glad that I found the energy to stream this today. Because lately I've had a sore throat and some ear pain. I think I might have a flu. I don't know. Like a light flu. Because I don't have any fever, no coughing, but I have like throat pain, ear pain. And the kids have been literally coughing at me all week. Yesterday, one kid literally coughed, and I felt the wind of his cough smack the entire right side of my face, like in my ear, in my hair, just my whole right side of my head. And I was just like, why can't you wear a mask? Because those kids have been coughing all week. The teachers have been coughing all week. And I've been wearing a mask, so that protects my nose and my mouth. But my ears are still exposed to them coughing in my ear. Literally coughing in my ear. And it's disgusting. And now, my ear hurts. But I'm surviving, Jack. Don't worry about me too much. I'm hanging in there. As Sachiko climbed out of bed and got changed, I handed her the bag resting on my knees. Your fried eggs are on the table. I love you, Sachiko. Yeah, great. Sachiko left the room. I jumped out of bed and stepped out onto the corridor. Hold this for me. Sachiko handed me her bag again. She then bent her knees and leaned down, letting the slit of her skirt reveal her thighs. Her long eyebrows painted beautiful half arcs on her lowered face. Her long flowing hair slipped down her shoulders, prompting Sachiko to try and pin it down next to her ear. Thanks. She raised her face and smiled at me as she finished putting on her shoes. My vision began to clear up, dispelling my prior drowsiness. I woke up with such keen senses that I felt I could hear the very blood pumping through my veins. I raised my face and rubbed my eyes, only to realize that a blanket slid down from my shoulders. I saw Maiko sitting in front of me, sipping tea from one of the cups I brought over. Was I sleeping? You were. I see. You've got a mark here. Maiko pointed at her cheek. I rubbed my cheek with one hand and brushed my mouth with my knuckles. You're sleeping like a baby. You could have woken me up instead of staring, you know. I was worried you'd be angry if I interrupted a nice dream. I wouldn't get angry over something like that. I told her she was free to wake me up next time. I looked around the room. It had already grown dark outside. The sweet bean jelly plate was covered up by a blue sheet with white dots. I picked up a teacup and took a sip of the cold tea. I glanced up at the ceiling, but the black butterfly from before was nowhere to be seen. A white vase with an empty pupa rested on the windowsill by the open window. Did the butterfly leave? It flew off toward the mountains as soon as I opened the window. I see. So it was courteous enough to wait for you at least. Maiko gave me a puzzled look. I wonder what kind of species it was. I think it was a common blue bottle. So that's what they were called. I spot them around here from time to time. They're found all across Japan. Depending on the season, you might catch a glimpse of them in Tohoku or even Kyushu. You seem to know a lot about them. It's a species I'm particularly fond of. I mean, just look at how beautiful their blue stripes are. Maiko smiled. I nodded. I like that blue color too. I remember spending an entire day chasing after one with an insect net when I was little. It flew off to the other side of the river though, so I ended up never catching it. I'm sure it was for the best for the butterfly at least. You don't think about these things too deeply when you're little. I just remember that I really wanted it because it looked different from the swallowtail butterflies I was used to seeing. I actually spent a couple of years after that thinking I still wanted to get my hands on one. So how did it feel to finally succeed? I was glad to see it from up close. For a moment, I felt like a child again. And that made you sniff out my sweet bean jelly I've been keeping for a later date? She pierced a piece of the jelly with a toothpick. I did that before finding the butterfly. Then I imagined there was little need for the butterfly to make you feel that way. I smelled that she gave me a reprimanding look. Well, it's alright, but there are some confectionaries I'm keeping for guests. So please ask before you take something next time, okay? Okay. You seem to have been in good spirits lately. Oh yeah. I've had no fits since that last one. If you're feeling that well, then perhaps I should assign you more duties. This is weird. I suddenly feel very sick. Good grief. I yawned and took another sip of the tea. Are you still sleepy? Mayuko smiled at me after eating a piece of jelly. Can't say I'm fully rested, to be honest, and I had a dream too. You were talking in your sleep. Really? What kind of dream did you have? It's from the time I was living with Sachiko. Mostly just dull little things, like frying eggs in the morning, or seeing her off at the entrance as she left for work. I tried remembering more, but by the time I woke up, the whole thing had slowly melted away, like sugar in warm water. But she's the one you lived together with. As I answered with a quick yep, Mayuko seemed to fall in thought for a moment. Do you still love her? I don't know. I loved her more than life itself before we separated. But we're not together anymore. I can't tell when she's not around. I see. Mayuko appeared to have fallen in thought again. Curious to learn what she was thinking, I strained my ears, almost expecting to hear her thoughts. I picked up a teacup and pretended like I was inspecting its bottom. I felt like I could hear the flapping of a butterfly's wings. I still glanced at Mayuko's face. She looked back at me, her eyes a bit narrower than usual. I wished there was a look of jealousy, or merely an attempt to read my expression. Unfortunately, it was nothing so lighthearted. It was the look of someone cornered by something. She looked just like Sachiko when she wanted to discuss something serious. Moments like that, I too would take care of to watch what I'd say. You know what, Jack? I'm getting extremely suspicious. Is Mayuko actually Sachiko? Using a fake name? Mayuko is a fake name? Is that why they look so much alike? And why she wants to know if Takako still loves Sachiko? And is that why all of these stories take place in the same setting? Bro, I'm extremely suspicious. Sachiko would always wait until I found the right words, no matter how long it took. It's gotten pretty cold, hasn't it? Said Mayuko after a long silence. Like a fish leaping out from beneath the calm, mirror-like surface of a lake. I'm late again, sorry I was shopping with my mom. No worries. Were you guys doing last-minute Christmas gift shopping? What'd you end up buying? What's with this orange face? Damn, what does that mean? Mayuko stood up, walked to a corner of the room, and flipped the switch on the electrical heater. The two pipes lit up in red. After confirming the amount of remaining water on the panel, she walked to the kitchen and returned with a cup, the contents of which she poured into the tank. I thought about Sachiko as I observed her. I have spent most of my life with her. I tried remembering the exact number of years. I met her 23 years ago. I can still remember that quite vividly. The moment I met her near that sandbox when I was just 5. And we were finally separated. When we separated, I tried remembering how exactly that went down. But I couldn't recall a single detail about it. It was like all my thoughts led me to a blindingly white room. But she was still someone I spent most of my life with. That alone was definitely true, and the diary I had now proved it. In all the entries, I was always by her side. The more I thought about it, the less I could understand why we ended up parting ways. Jack, you know something. I'm on to you. I met Kozue's eyes as I was about to pick up the stool in the lobby. What are you doing, she asked. Nothing. What about you? Same here. Kozue had my hairpin in her hair. Ah, did you come to show off that hairpin? Kozue raised her eyebrows in surprise. Why would you even think that? Oh, anyway, you came at the perfect time. If you're not too busy, can you help me out a little? Kozue's gaze traveled to her grandfather clock. I heaved the stool on my shoulder and gestured for her to come closer. It won't take long. I ascended the spiral staircase. I know nothing I tell you. Jack! How dare you hide this from me? Kozue followed me in silence. I stopped in the middle of the stairs, placed the stool below one of the lights, kicked off my slippers and climbed on it. I mean, the way she says that, like, certain expressions and behaviors of Mayuko remind her of Sachiko. I don't know, man. It seems like another clue, man. Telling you, Mayuko is Sachiko, my guy. How else would Narasaki know where Takako is? Unless Mayuko is Sachiko, and Sachiko is telling Narasaki. There's a whole thing here, bro. It's all falling together, dude. I'm telling you, Mayuko is Sachiko confirmed. Could you hold it for me? Kozue placed her hands on the stool to steady it. I reached out to the lamp and seized this light bulb. I screwed it out of the socket and put it into my pocket, then moved the other light bulb from my mouth to my hand and screwed that into the socket instead. You're like an electrician. I got the qualification for this kind of work back in school. I'm the real deal. Really? I can fix most anything when it comes to home electrical systems. My light keeps randomly turning off. You mean the light in your room? Yes. I'll give it a look once I'm finished with this one. Thank you. I stepped down from the stool and carried it to the next light. Once again, Kozue helped steady it for me. I climbed back onto my stool and reached under the lampshade. Jack is putting the ghost face. I think I've cracked the code, bro. Sitting on the tripod, I unscrewed the seal on the ceiling. I pulled back a bunch of wires and found one with damaged insulation. The door opened as Kozue returned with Mayuko. How's it going, Mayuko asked, looking up at me from below. Those wires don't seem to be in a very good condition. Rats might have gotten to them, or maybe they just deteriorated due to the salt in the air. But it'd probably be a good idea to call in a professional. I see. I returned the wires to their place and screwed the seal back on. Mayuko turned to Kozue. How long has it been since you moved into this room again? About half a year or so. Suppose it's the perfect time to change rooms then. Kozue nodded. Takako, I'll prepare a new room for Kozue, so in the meantime, could you help her pack? Wait, Kozue is she a patient in this sanatorium? Sure thing. Thank you very much. Anyway, just give me a few hours. Mayuko left the room. What the heck is going on in this game? Well then. I looked around the room with only a single bed and a lone shelf inside. A tripod stood in the middle, a few crumbles of plaster from the ceiling lying beside it. Kozue slid the glass partition on the shelf open and began taking out the books. I folded up the tripod. I'll bring the cleaning tools to collect your stuff in one place for now. Kozue had very few things, only a handful of books and some clothes. She put everything into the small cardboard box Mayuko brought over and carried it to the other room with her. Meanwhile, I cleaned the empty room and decided to move back to the night duty room after finishing. Before closing the door, I turned around once and gave the empty room a quick look. A space that had been Kozue's just moments before now had no trace of her left. I want to eat something, but like, I don't know. Alright, Jack, I'll be back in like 1 minute. I'm gonna go harass my family, see if they can make me some food. I could like technically reheat some pasta, but I'm in the mood for some scrambled eggs, and I don't want to make it myself. I make some pretty banging scrambled eggs, but like... No, wait, my mom's actually leaving to go to that dang party, right? Shit, I'm probably gonna have to wait till after stream to eat. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna take a snack break, which will be like literally like 30 seconds. I'm gonna snack right here. I got some Italian chocolates. I'm gonna eat some of those. Cause I'm in the mood. So we got these like My mom went to the bakery and she got these like croissant-like, but they're not really croissants, but like these fancy breads. And I want some scrambled eggs and like the fancy bread with like some butter. But I don't want the butter to melt from like the oven. I want it to melt from the heat of the eggs, because that's when the butter is at its best. So like you get like some really good like croissant bread or whatever it might be, like a sweet bread maybe, right? And then you make your eggs, you put the butter in the bread, and then you put the eggs over the butter, and the heat from the eggs melts the butter, and then you got the sweetness of the bread, and it's just like the best effing thing. Wait, how are you on a diet that doesn't include eggs? Eggs are very low in calories. Plus you get protein. The only bad thing about eggs is the cholesterol. So are you like on a cholesterol diet? So these are like dark chocolate with hazelnut. I might go get some milk too. They're really good. Are eggs high in calories? Hold on, let me go look that up. I wish eggs were high in calories because I need calories. I like lost 20 pounds over the past year, and I didn't want to lose 20 pounds because I was already a healthy weight, and I still am a healthy weight, but I'm getting very close to being underweight, which I don't like. I would like to have at least 10 pounds back. Maybe even just 5 pounds back would be good, but I would like to gain a little bit of weight. So I think from what I'm seeing, maybe your eggs are different. Mine have a bit fewer calories. Usually I'll eat like four eggs a day. And that'll be like a meal, like 4 eggs. And then I'll have a blueberry banana smoothie for breakfast. And I feel like the blueberry banana smoothie is like 400 calories, even with the yogurt and the apple juice. And then the eggs will be about, like if I eat 4 eggs, that'll be about 400 calories. So that's like 800. And then lunch will be like a sandwich that I make myself, and it's like has a good amount of meat but not too much. So let's just say that's like another 400 calories maybe. And I'm under like the 2000 calorie limit. And I don't get any calories from the beverages that I drink other than the smoothie, because I just drink like tea and water. So basically, long story short, I'm just like around 1000 to like 1200 calories per day. And it's very hard for me to get the 2000 calories. Alright, BRB, I'm gonna get some milk. You're right. You're right that we have opposite problems. Did I accidentally skip stuff? How do I pull up the thing? Like the log that has all the stuff that I missed? Yeah, I just skipped a ton of text. I think we could go back to the title menu, right? And then restart the scene? I don't know what the hell I accidentally pressed. But anyway, what was I gonna tell you? Oh yeah, so I think my problem is, I think I genuinely get less than 2,000 calories a day. And then on top of that, I walk to work, which is half hour. I walk home from work, so that's an hour of exercise. Plus I'm constantly walking around the classroom all day and up and down stairs as well, when I have to take the kids to like lunch or specials. So basically I'm getting exercise all day at my job. And I'm eating less than 2,000 calories. So, I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. Cause I'm like a skeleton now. I feel like a skeleton. I don't want to feel like a skeleton. I will say, when I was younger, people used to always tell me I could be a model. And so I have like the right weight if I wanted to be a model. The only reason I decided not to be a model was because somebody told me that if you're a model, you can't be a teacher. And I guess that's because a model in a way is almost like a sex symbol, which is probably not good for a teacher to be. I don't know. But that's what I heard. I heard if you're a model, you can't be a teacher. And I figured I want to be a teacher, so I can't be a model. But if I'm being honest with you, I probably should have opted to try to be a model years ago. That probably would have been better than being a teacher. Because being a teacher is like, it's becoming more stressful of a career nowadays. And being a model probably would have been a lot of fun. I probably would have gotten to travel a lot more too with that. I kept my weight under control, so I started a desk job in relatively recent times. I mean, you enjoy your job though, so it's kind of a trade-off. Pros and cons. But I've always had a propensity to put on weight despite being always super physically active till then. I'm the opposite. I've always had like a fast metabolism, so it's always been hard to put on weight. But there was like a time where I was starting to put on like a little bit, like I was still healthy weight, but I had a little tiny bit of belly fat. I lost all that belly fat, all that little bit of belly fat. But you know, if you think about my diet and you think about my exercise, it makes sense. Because at first I was like, oh no, I'm losing weight for no reason. And then I thought about it and I was like, well, I have had a whole lifestyle change, haven't I? It makes sense. My body's way too efficient, clearly. Can't burn those calories. Dang. I mean, how many hours do you work a day? Like, would there be time if you wanted where you could exercise daily for an hour? I mean, sometimes you seem to do the hiking too, like when you go in the woods and you do some foraging and you find the mushrooms and stuff like that. I don't know how often you're able to do things like that, but I know like even before I started this new job of teaching, like while I was still working from home, basically, I was doing like virtual tutoring. It was like a desk job at home. I would still find time to exercise for an hour a day. Just go for a walk. Sanaya raised her face from the book and gave the case. I held a look. I borrowed it from Kozoi's room. It was a transparent rectangular case filled with water and an old toy. It had colorful pictures of fish on it and a bunch of plastic red rings inside. And on the bottom there was a big plastic coral. You could push a button to create water current and send the rings swirling around inside. I managed to get some on the coral. I pushed the button harder, wanting to get a ring that fell far to the side, but the strong current ended up sweeping the rings I'd already collected aside as well. Speaking of which room did Kozue move to? I think it was the corner room on the 3rd floor of the Western Ring. I see. Sanai stared at me with her fingers stuck in her closed book. Is that book good? Yes. I'm only halfway through, but would you like me to tell you about it? No need, just lend it to me once you're finished. Okay. Sanai nodded. Huh? You're hurt, Takako. She pointed at my elbow. Oh. Sanai took out a band-aid box from the closet by the bed. I guess I brushed it against something. How could you not notice something like that? Sanai stooped in front of me, wringing the band-aid seal off. I move around and get hurt a lot, so my brain probably doesn't even register small things like this anymore. I raised my elbow in front of her, which prompted Sanai to put a band-aid on it. My daily diet's usually like yogurt in the morning, piece of brown bread in the afternoon, a biscuit somewhere in between, a sub of chicken legs for dinner, and curd for late night snack. You know what? I gotta look up curd. I've heard the word before, but I don't know if I've actually ever seen a picture of what it looks like. Part of milk that coagulates when it sours or is treated with enzymes. So it's basically cottage cheese. I'm not sure I've ever had that. Anything like that. Apparently it's also considered an Indian yogurt. Interesting. I feel like what we eat is not too different. We both have yogurt. Mine just so happens to be in a smoothie. That way I could also have banana and blueberries, because blueberries are strong anti-inflammatories, vitamin C, all that good stuff. Bananas have potassium and magnesium, good for the heart. I try to be mindful of my nutrition, what's in what I'm eating. I do also sneak in some chicken nuggets usually or something that I make at home, and that'll be part of my protein along with the eggs. And then lunch is usually where I try to sneak in some carbs, like the sandwich. But it's all like homemade stuff. Like I don't eat fast food or anything. Whenever I do eat out, I try to go to the really fancy ethnic like mom and pop joints that I know are making me fresh food. And in some cases, like the Albanian restaurant, I know what days they make fresh food. Like the waitress told me, oh, on Thursdays and Sundays we make fresh Byrek. And Byrek is usually what I like to order from them, so thanks to her I know, oh, if I go on Thursday or Sunday, I'll get fresh food, really, really extra fresh, not reheated or anything. So I'm very strategic about what I eat, even though I probably don't need to be since I have a fast metabolism, but for me it's more about the nutritional value. Kind of weigh the pros and cons of what's actually nutritious for my body. It's more about wanting to get vitamins and minerals and less so about weight management. You could use some exercise yourself, Sanai. I agree, but it's not so easy when you're small and frail like me. How about jogging? I get out of breath just climbing the stairs. If you want something effective but not too draining, then how about swimming? I'm pretty good with routines, so I can stick to a diet, an exercise regime, and lose weight when I'm at home. But I need to really keep an eye on what I eat. It's a long-term project. I mean, if you're good with routines, then odds are in your favor. I'm rooting for you. you want something effective but not too draining, then how about swimming? I don't know how to swim. How about beverages? Do you stick to just like water? Seriously, the sea's a rock throw away from here. My mom, like, they say, you know, I don't drink soda. I also don't drink a lot of booze, just the occasional very rare sake. But like, my parents, they know soda's bad, and they, you know, they're like, oh, we drink diet soda because we have diabetes. And they low-key know that even the diet soda is bad for them, because they've told me, like, oh, I just read this thing, diet soda is bad for us, but they still keep drinking it. And I'm like, bro, it's weird, because they always tell me to just drink water, and I basically just drink water and tea anyway, and milk. You know, I just drink, like, those three, basically. So I'm like, why are you telling me this, when you guys are the ones who drink all this bullshit? Oh wait, that was my third swear word. You see, Jack, this is why the algorithm doesn't promote my streams. Cause I'm too raw. I'm too raw in the Nico GU community. When I go to Japan, I don't want to diet, dude. That 100%. If I went to Japan, I'd probably be having like 5,000 calories a day. It'd be nothing but a eating trip where I'd be like vlogging. Vlogging my journey as a what's that word? Is it consommeur? I don't know. I remember my connoisseur. I'd be vlogging my journey as a connoisseur. I remember one of my university professors, I told him that I have a ranking chart for every tiramisu that I've ever tried. So I've tried 38 tiramisus from different like restaurants or bakeries. And when I told him, he was like, oh, you're a true tiramisu connoisseur. And that was my first time hearing the word connoisseur. And I was just like, oh my god, I sound so godlike now. He put it in such vivid terms. So I've never forgotten that he called me a connoisseur, and I've been proud ever since. Stuffing myself every day, dude. I wish I was in Japan for that purpose, so I could be a connoisseur. Seriously, the sea's a rock throw away from here. People actually swim in there? Of course they do. Don't tell me you've never been to the sea before. What do you even do at the sea? Well, you can swim, play beach volleyball, look for seashells and crabs, build sandcastles, or even collect glass stones, stuff like that. Glass stones? Waves can sometimes make glass from sand, which results in translucent stones. Have you never seen any before? No. They come in different colors too. I remember collecting a whole bag of them when I was little. If you hold them out under the sun, they shine in various different colors. Sounds like it'd be very beautiful. Oh, it is. Back at my old place, I had them lined up along with the seashells on a shoe cabinet. One of my relatives made this mosaic picture by sticking them to a canvas. I mean, not professionally or anything, it was more like part of a school project, I think. Either way, it was the scenery of colorful fish swimming in the blue ocean. Whenever I went to visit those relatives as a child, it'd be hanging above their shoe cabinet too. It was about this big too. I gestured with my hands, conveying the dimensions of a piece of A4 sized paper. That sounds a bit like a stained glass window. Yeah, sort of. Honestly, I wanted to make something like that myself, but I'd only just now remembered it. You've been fond of creating things all your life, haven't you? Yeah, I even joined the pottery club back in elementary school. What did you make there? I remember making a vase and an ashtray. I didn't have enough clay, so my vase ended up too small to stick a flower in it. But I shaped it like a tulip instead, which turned out to look pretty nice, so I liked it. It was not me, but the teacher that made the final glazing, so it ended up brown. Makes me wonder if they just had no red dye at all. The ashtray was a present from my grandfather. I noticed that he didn't have one at home. He used it for quite some time after that. It always made me happy to see it on their table when I went to visit. A pottery club sounds like fun. It's nice to actually have something tangible after all your efforts. Did you make anything else? I guess I made a bookmark if that counts. You fill a little bucket with water and throw your watercolors in it. The colors mix in all sorts of patterns and you get something cool looking if you let a piece of paper float and soak in it for a while. I remember doing that in the past. I also made a hand from paper mache. I remember doing that too. is where you use some thick wires for the base skeleton. Coil some string around that, then add the paper mache, right? Yeah, that's right. We made masks, kites, and stamps from it. Back in school, I made stamps in carving class. I really liked how mine came out. I made it have a flower pattern. No matter how often the teacher warns you, there's always someone who gets hurt in that class. It's a bad idea to place your hand in front of the blade. Better safe than sorry is what you have to keep in mind in that class. I've yet to ever cut my finger, even with a kitchen knife. I showed her my hand. Isn't that just because you never cook? Hey, I do cook sometimes. I can even peel a potato with a knife. Then peel an apple for me next time. Sure thing. I took her on. For a moment, Sanai's face looked like Mayuko's to me. Ah! Oh my god, Takako's losing it, bro. Not everybody is Sachiko. Or wait, did she say Mayuko? Either way, Mayuko is Sachiko, so everybody is Sachiko. Is something the matter? Oh my god, wait, I got an idea. So you know how Takako... No, wait. You know how Sachiko saw the fake Takako at work in her mind? What if Mayuko and Sanai are both non-existent and they're both fake Sachikos in Takako's mind? Bro. You gotta admit, man, I'm the king of theories. Huh. Anyway, yeah, I made a lot of things. Now that I think about it, I made more stuff than I could even remember. I wonder if children are still like that these days. I wouldn't know. We can ask Kozoi about it later. For us, it might be a sweet memory, but for her, it's still school. Adele should be able to consider it fun the way we do. Yeah, school ruins a lot of things. Some of my most boring classes made it feel like time had just stopped. Though we truly did touch upon a lot of things in school, didn't we? I mean, even if we're talking about art class, we made so many different things when we were there. But then life becomes far more monotone once you graduate. Yeah. I continue making things, though. Now that you mention it, you worked as a designer, didn't you? Did you choose that career because you've enjoyed creating things ever since you were little? I guess it's partly that, but Sachiko enjoyed that kind of work too. If we were going out of our way to start new jobs, I figured we might as well choose something we could do together. Sachiko's really good at painting. She doesn't get as many avant-garde ideas as me, but I can never compare to her in terms of raw technique. I see you love her very much. Yeah. Anyway, would you like to go look for glass stones sometimes? That sounds nice. We could decorate Kozoi's room with them later. She had very few things. That's a good idea. I climbed all the way up to the third floor of the western wing, then continued down the corridor. Opened the door to the corner room. I'm coming in, Kozoi. Kozoi had yet to receive her room key from Mayuko, meaning it couldn't have been locked. Hey, don't come in without permission. Don't be a buzzkill. I'm not joking around, okay? Kozoi regarded me with a reproaching look. I shrugged and asked what she was doing. I could see the vast golden sky peek through the window. Kozoi had been stooping by the shelf next to it. Nothing. Did something happen? She began returning the tower of books she had by her feet to the shelf. Were you looking for something? The last thing she placed on the shelf before finally sliding the glass door shut was a sheep-shaped clay figure. I borrowed your toy with rings and fish, if that's it. That's not what I'm looking for. There's nothing in her room besides that shelf and a bag on her bed. Maybe you left it in the previous room. I'll go take a look. Can you tell me what this thing is exactly? Don't bother, it's nothing important. You don't need to be shy with me. It's something small enough to fit on the shelf, right? I left the room, not waiting for an answer. I vaguely heard her say that I didn't need to bother. I walked down the corridor, descended the spiral staircase, and emerged on the second floor. A large cloud was blocking the sun. The lights in the corridor were lit up. Kozoi's old room wasn't locked yet. With one hand still on the doorknob, I flipped the light switch. I waited a few moments, but the room remained dark. Deciding to wait no longer, I stepped inside. As I let go of the doorknob, the door closed behind me. I could no longer see a thing. I took out the flashlight I had prepared. A circle of light pierced the dark, monochrome room, returning some color to the place. A bed with white sheets, an empty shelf with a glass door. The room hadn't changed since I left it at noon. I checked the floor, the ceiling, and finally the window, but found nothing. My light split as it hit the window, dissipating into the dark forest beyond. Where am I adding these extra words from? I pointed the flashlight at the bed again, inspecting it from top to bottom. The room suddenly lit up as the flashlight let out a loud click. Then the light disappeared completely. But wait! I shook the flashlight, but all it did was let out a weird buzzing sound. I clicked the button on the back of its shaft, removed its 3 batteries, changed them up, and returned them to their place. I pushed the light button again, but it still didn't work. Giving up, I slid the flash into my pocket and walked to the bed. I reached out to the silhouette I saw right before the light vanished. My hand grasped only empty air. I instinctively drew my hand back and looked at it, but could only see the darkness. It was as though the silhouette had completely vanished. The window, through which the moonlight had illuminated the room moments before, had disappeared as well. The room had completely lost its colors and even contours. I blinked and pressed my fingers against my eyelids. Upon opening my eyes again, I realized that nothing much had changed. Extending one hand to help me navigate, I made my way toward the wall. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, I shook my head and waved my hand around. The wall should have been within my reach, but once again my hand grasped only air. I took another half a step and stuck my leg forward. My toes suddenly touched something, making me stagger backwards. After steadying myself, I realized I could hear the wind. Cool, humid air caressed my cheeks. My ears rang as I gulped down the built-up saliva in my throat. For starters, I stuck my right leg to examine the thing I had touched earlier. Through my slippers, it felt like a rock. When I grew conscious of that fact, I realized that my left foot was actually standing not on the floor, but a similar rocky surface. I took a step forward, trying to feel the ground below me. As I did, it lit up in dim, warped monochrome. I strained my eyes to realize I'd been standing on volcanic rocks. Volcanic rocks? I raised my face and lowered my hand, spotting a small light in the distance. It flickered in the darkness, looking like it could disappear at any moment. A gust of wind passed through the cave with a low-pitched howl. With careful steps, I began walking toward the light. As my eyes and ears began to grow accustomed to the area, I quickened my pace. I reached a puddle of water. As I raised my face, I saw someone by the light. Sachiko was sitting there with her back turned to me. Sachi? Was what I tried to utter, yet my throat was too dry for me to make a sound. I quickened my pace. I looked up at Sachiko again as I hurried through the uneven, rocky ground. Her straight long hair sparkled in the dim light. I could make out 2 eyes peering at me over her shoulder. They belonged to a small face I couldn't quite make out in the dark. Sachi? The small mouth moved as though uttering that word. Sachiko slowly turned around. The light flickered. Takako? I opened my eyes to a starlit sky. You'll catch a cold sleeping here. Good morning. I turned toward the direction of the voice to see Maiko sitting on the edge of the bed with one hand placed on my shoulder. I moved my arm and heard it brush against the white sheets. Maiko, I think the batteries of this thing are dead. I took the flashlight out of my pocket and handed it to Maiko. Really? Maiko turned the flashlight in her hands and tried pushing the light button. The room lit up, making me reflexively close my eyes. Seems to be working fine. It didn't when I needed it. Maybe the batteries are almost empty and it's gotten unstable now. I'll change them later just in case. Yeah, do that, please. I raised my upper body so I'd be at the same height as her. Growing dizzier by the second, I looked at Maiko and the night sky extending behind her. Maiko stood up as though trying to escape my gaze. She turned around and closed the open window. Why were you sleeping in a place like this? I glanced at the door, noticing the bright corridor beyond it. Ghostly forgot something in here. I checked the room after you cleaned it. There was nothing here. I didn't find anything either. I turned and lowered my feet from the bed and into my slippers. Are you going to Kozai's room? I had to tell her I wasn't in this room. We left the room together. Maiko closed the door and locked it with a key from her pocket. Alright, I think we've been rescued. We're escaping the haunted room. I climbed the staircase on the western wing to the 3rd floor and continued down the corridor, careful not to let my slippers make any sound. I could see light coming from the gap of the corner room's door. I walked over to the door and swiftly opened it. I'm back, Kozue. Kozue raised her head from the book she was reading on her new bed and gave me an indignant glare. I think I'll start locking my room. Jeez, is this how you thank me for looking for your stuff? Kozue's gaze wandered for a second but soon returned to me. So, did you find anything? Don't tell me you've forgotten. I sat down in the chair by the bed. There's nothing in your old room, unfortunately. I see. Maiko said she checked it but didn't find anything either. You can forget about it then. Kozue turned the page in her book. Wasn't it important though? It's not something I can't live without. How come it took you hours to check a single room? Were you worried about me? No. You might be saying that, but I bet you wanted to check up on me. You were just too embarrassed to actually do it, and then you were worried that we might end up walking past each other. How on earth could you arrive at that conclusion? I bet I could get a PhD just from examining how your head works. I could be your assistant. Kozue snorted and returned her gaze to the book. Whatever. This is getting dumb. Glancing out the window, I saw the mountains under the dark blue sky. The lights of the port town sparkled gently below them. The view's a lot better from the third floor. If you have no more business with me, I would appreciate it if you left. Maiko said dinner's gonna be ready soon and was wondering if you'd care to join us on the first floor. I see. Go ahead without me, I'll go call Sanai. Kozue, who had been descending the spiral staircase in front of me, turned around and nodded. Takako. I heard a voice as I was about to knock on Sanai's door on the second floor. I turned in its direction, spotting Sanai at the end of the corridor. Were you looking for me? I came to invite you to dinner. Oh, she came closer to me. Can I come dressed like this? Yeah. Okay then. Sanai and I descended the stairs to the lobby. Kozue was there, playing with a planet model on the counter. I thought you'd already left. You never told me where to go. The dining room, like always. Okay. Sorry, I should have told you. It doesn't matter. Kozue regarded me with sleepy eyes. Follow me. I turned back to the corridor and continued to the east wing. As I started humming, Sanai asked what kind of song it was. It's something I heard a long time ago. Looking at Kozue just now reminded me of it. It has a nice melody. The stars, the moon, and the earth all go round and round. As I opened the door at the end of the west corridor, I found Maiko placing plates from the service cart onto the table. Need help? Almost done anyway, so better just wait at your seat. In a room about twice the size of our bedrooms, there was a long table with 3 chairs on 2 of its longer sides. The many windows in the wall opposite the corridor gave all who'd enter a wide view of the inner yard and the big camphor tree in its center. I lowered myself into the chair near the windows. Maiko, after finishing lining up the plates, sat down next to me. Sanai and Kozue seated themselves in front of us. Let's dig in. With those words, we grabbed our chopsticks and began filling our plates. The dinner consisted of takikomi rice. What the heck is takikomi rice? Chicken and mushroom sauté, sea bass minueri, and salad with white sauce. Is takikomi rice something special, or is it just a type of rice sort of like jasmine rice and all that? Let me look that up. Takikomi gohan is a Japanese rice dish seasoned with dashi, soy sauce, mushrooms, vegetables, meat, or fish. It kind of sounds like oyakodon, honestly. It's a short grain rice. It looks good. It's a Japanese rice pilaf. Ooh, rice pilaf is really good. Okay, that's interesting. Might be worth trying one day. Do we have any pepper, Maiko? Hitting the sauna for a bit, so if you run into any questions, I'll answer later, but no worries. I'll still be listening from the speaker. Alright, enjoy the sauna, Jack. Do we have any pepper, Maiko? We do. She lifted off a small wooden jar from the service cart. What do you want to put it on? Fish. But I've already seasoned that. It's okay. It becomes even better with more pepper. I tilted the pepper jar above my piece of sea bass manure. Some pepper got into my nose. Marco was looking at me with a difficult expression. Come on, pepper is a treasure of human civilization. Back in ancient times, it was worth its weight in gold. I'd use the entire bottle if I could. That cost 300 yen at the supermarket though. I'm glad to have been born in the modern age. The fragrant smell of saute reminded me of how hungry I was. I gobbled down everything on my plate in a matter of seconds. You eat fast, said Kozue. I move around a lot, so I get hungry fast. You might get indigestion from wolfing down your food like that. It's okay, I always eat like this. I glanced at Michael's plate and saw how she still had a good chunk of her meal left. Is there more? No, that's all we had for today. Darn. We don't go outside as much now that it's gotten cold, and it's easy to overeat during parties, so this is just the right amount to help us stay in shape. Are you saying I got fat? No. This is for everyone's health. I don't care about my weight, I'd rather eat more. You can have this if you want. Sanai pushed the rice bowl toward me. You sure? No. Takako's diet already contains too many carbs. Growth hormone secretion decreases when you sleep. If your blood sugar level is too high, and you end up not feeling as rested as you should. What? Let me try to understand this. Growth hormone secretion decreases when you sleep if your blood sugar level is too high. I don't know what that means, because I don't know what growth hormones do. But basically, if you have too much carbs or sugar before bed, you don't rest as well. Which I didn't know. And I tend to have most of my carbs and sugars at night instead of during the day. Like, I'll have dessert with dinner instead of with lunch. Well, that's not true. It's 50-50. Sometimes I have dessert with lunch, then other days I'll have it with dinner. But that's interesting. That's an interesting factoid. Really? Yes. You shouldn't eat any more today. She handed me a white cup with coffee. I drew the cup to my lips and took a sip. The bitter taste extended across my tongue, eliminating the aftertaste from the other dishes. I noticed Kozue staring at me with absent eyes. What? Or rather, her eyes seemed to be gazing at something behind me. I turned around to see my own face, reflected in the glass, and then vaguely made out the camphor tree, swaying in the darkened inner yard. Did you see something there? No. Did you remember my Christmas tree? Sanai, gulping down the takikomi rice, raised her face as well. It was really beautiful. We should have taken a picture. We can do that next time. Let's have a group picture and hang it up in the lobby. That is a good idea, said Mayuko. I felt my throat dry and took another sip of coffee. Mayuko elegantly picked up the last mushroom of her saute with her chopsticks, then put it in her mouth. Are you familiar with glass stones, Mayuko? You mean those things you can find lying on the beach? Yeah. Sanai said she'd never seen one. Sanai nodded as both our gazes fell on her. I suggested we all go to the beach when it gets warmer. To swim? That's nice too, but I'd first have to teach Sanai. I doubt she knows how to swim. Are you serious? Sanai asked in a heavy tone. It's okay, I'm an expert at swimming. That's not what I meant. Sanai tilted her head down, making her hair hide her eyes from us. What do you think, Kozue? I don't like swimming in the sea. Why? The water feels sticky and makes me sick. How about we go fishing then? Yo, I want to go fishing. No thanks. After diligently cleaning her plate, Kozue placed her chopsticks on the table. Kozue, would you prefer tea or coffee? Tea. Mayuko took out a teacup from the service cart, filled it up with tea, and handed it to me. I took it from her hands and placed it in front of Kozue. So what else could we do if neither swimming nor fishing works for you guys? Why do you guys want to go to the beach anyway? I just do. Mayuko, what else is there to do at the beach? Well, you can build sandcastles or play beach volleyball. I've never done it myself though. She made a faint smile. I suppose you could also hold a barbecue. That sounds good. I could catch all the fish on the spot. Are we talking about fishing again? I could catch them with my bare hands if that's what you'd prefer. I menacingly grabbed the air with my right hand, pretending to be some kind of a woodland predator. Is there anything else you'd like to do, Kozue? Fireworks. Oh, that's good. We can do that when it goes dark. Let's buy a lot. Just know that rockets are too dangerous, so I'm not allowing those. Then what fireworks are okay? Don't tell me we'll have to make do with sparklers. Anything that's sold in a store, except the ones that leave pillars of flames. Does that include parachute fireworks? Well, parachute fireworks are probably okay. What's that? Kozue cocked her head to the side. It's a type of firework that has a parachute inside. After it explodes, the parachute comes gliding down. That's right. Running around trying to catch those things is a hallmark experience of summer. Last time I did that, all my parachutes got swept above the sea and I couldn't retrieve them. I'm not gonna repeat the same mistake again. Just be careful not to fall into the sea, okay? I won't do that. I'm not a kid anymore. You act plenty childish from where I stand, Kozue remarked. Speaking of the sea, said Mayuko almost at the same time. I heard this when I was buying groceries, but apparently a steamship going around the world will be making a stop at our port sometime soon. A steamship? The grandpa from our usual cafe said it was a huge steamship. I didn't know people still use such ancient technology. They do in the West, apparently. Traveling around the world, huh? I wish I could do that, too. We could go have a look when it's here. Maybe we'll even get to hold those colored tapes. I'm not boarding it, said Kozue as I silently placed her chopsticks on the table. Sanai and Kozue returned to their rooms after dinner. Mayuko, busy washing the dishes in the kitchen, spotted me as I brought over the leftover plates and proceeded to thank me. Where should I put them? Just put them in the sink. Okay. I placed them down for low clang. Mayuko picked up one of the plates and began brushing a bubbling sponge against it. She finished the 4 sets of plates in a couple of minutes and placed them on the drying rack. Though she seemed to only be lightly washing the plates, I had yet to see a single spot on any of the ones I ate from. There was something relieving about how she worked. Maybe I just got used to the sight. Need help? I'm almost done. It's already late, so you should go to sleep. I see. I turned around before reaching the kitchen door and faced Mayuko's back. What is it? Mayuko asked without looking at me. I'll sleep in my own room tonight. Okay. Good night then. Good night. Gonna sleep in her own room? What the heck is going on here? I laid down on my futon and closed my eyes, but I realized I wasn't sleepy. There was something bothering me. I remembered how I saw Sachiko in Kozue's room. I wanted to meet her again, but I didn't know what to do to achieve that. I turned on the desk lamp and picked up the notebook. There were only a few pages left now. September 23rd, 1975. The rays of the sun filtered in through the marmalade-colored western window of the kindergarten, elongating the shadows of the 3 of us inside. All the other children had already had their parents come pick them up. Meanwhile, we were still playing doctor. Takago was the doctor, Narasaki was the patient, and I just held a book that was supposed to be a medical record and stared at them. Okay. Why is it they're saying Narasaki was the patient, and then I see a doll with Narasaki's hair color, not necessarily her hairstyle, but her hair color almost. Is Narasaki also a figment of their imagination? What's happening, bro? Takago is investigating the condition of Narasaki's belly. Does the stethoscope have a right and a wrong side? Takago turned to me. You're holding it correctly. I see, I see. She took the stethoscope off and put it on the table. This game is so weird, Jack. Narasaki is a person, but also a doll. Sachiko is like 3 different characters. And Takako is in a mental asylum. Bro, what is happening? Kozue might be like the only somewhat normal character, but she's probably also an imaginary friend. I think this whole game is literally about Takako and her imaginary friends. This is like that show they used to have on Cartoon Network, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. But it's like Takako's home for imaginary friends. There was a whole lineup of toy medical tools on it, all to be used as part of the game. Takako looked over them for a second, and after a brief moment of hesitation, what is this? She picked up a spatula used to hold down the tongue. Ah, the nurse is looking. I turned around and saw the nurse looking our way. She picked up a plush bunny we left on the floor earlier and put it back into its box. Was she looking at us? Yes. You seem to be a very untrustworthy doctor. I fear for your future patients if you ever actually become one. Ugh. I think Narasaki's better at it than you, Takako. Okay, all this dialogue right now they had in a previous chapter. I clearly remember her saying, I fear for your future patients, and I also remember her saying, I think Narasaki's better at it than you. Okay, we can switch if you want. I put down the book that was supposed to be the medical record and took the stethoscope from Takako's hands. Then I lifted up Narasaki and placed her on my knees. So, where does it hurt? I voiced the question in a mature tone. I ate a poisoned apple. Just like in the story we read today. Yeah, I remember this too. Necklace, please show me your stomach. Okay. Takako pulled up her shirt, exposing her naked belly. I used Narasaki's hand to guide the stethoscope to it. Alright, turn around now. Takako did as ordered, pantomiming me a spinning chair. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with your lungs. Okay, let's have a look at your throat now. Takako spun her invisible chair again and opened her mouth. Open wide, yeah, just like that. I pressed the spatula into Narasaki's hand and used it to push Takako's tongue out of the way. You're good at opening your mouth. I can see all the way to your tonsils. The news word mirrored the same thing. I have no idea what you're saying, though. Beginning to feel sleepy, I closed the book. I placed the notebook by the pillow and collapsed onto the bed on my back. That day I had a dream of my past. A dream of a hot summer day. Chapter 6. The train heading far away. Alright, I guess this is where we're gonna end our chapter reading. And then we'll try to catch up with those tips in the meantime. And then we'll end stream after catching up with those tips. Alright, let's see if I can remember what tips we have. I know my boy Jack said we have 5. Right here in tips 3 we have 3. So tips 2 is just one thing. I think we did night duty room. Is landscape immersion a new one? Landscape immersion, flower petal, apricot, and water game. I feel like we got maybe 5 new ones. I mean 4 new ones and not 5. Cause I thought we did night duty room. Jack could always correct me later, but for now I'm gonna read landscape immersion. And then I'm gonna go to tips 3 and read those 3. And then I think that's it. I'm not sure, but I think that's it. Even this looks kind of familiar because I remember the train before. Tips 1, night duty room and furnace. Are those the new ones? I thought we did those. I mean, this one looks familiar. So this kind of doesn't feel like it. Alright, so let me go to tips 1 then. Alright, I guess we're starting with furnace. What the heck? It's legit showing a furnace. After the bath, Sachiko came to the furnace room. Without even trying to fight the loud noise inside, she mouthed that the bath was now open and free to use. I gestured that I understood. I normally use the shower in the clinic, but once a week I'd heat up the underground bath. After making sure that the furnace was working as intended, I headed to the bath. Upon entering, I washed myself off, then stepped into the hot water. Why does these almost look like an IRL setting? But like a creepy IRL setting. Like, this looks like the furnace and a bath you would find in an IRL house where you've been taken if you've been kidnapped. It just looks odd. Upon entering, I washed myself off and stepped into the hot water. I lowered myself into the water, letting my hips, shoulder, and neck be completely immersed, with only my chin remaining above the surface. Heating up the bath was a bit of a pain, but the payoff was more than worth it. But that initial tedium was exactly what made finishing it so satisfying. I remembered how there used to be more patients and doctors in this clinic in the past. We'd have the bath heated every day back in those days. But eventually, the number of our patients decreased and so did the doctors. Soon enough, evening was upon us, and the only source of illumination in the human bathroom became the thin ray of light from the ceiling. I remembered my experience in room 208 today. I tried looking for traces of the unfamiliar bedroom that appeared in front of me for a brief moment, but couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. I took a deep breath and slowly exhaled it. I wondered if it wasn't all just a dream of some sort. I felt like I heard something, prompting me to strain my ears. I could quite clearly hear the sound of drops falling to the wet floor, but somewhere in the distance I felt like I could hear voices. It was just a feeling though. I splashed my face with the hot water. I was probably tired. Now that I thought about it, the only time I slept over the past few days was that one time I lost consciousness from an hour or so. After soaking for some time, I stood up and wiped the remaining water off my skin. Then I changed back into my clothes and dried my hair off the dryer, resting by the water basin. I turned everything off and left the keys to the furnace in the dressing room where they belonged. I was just about ready to head off toward the night duty room when a sudden onset of dizziness made me stagger on my feet. I needed to get myself some coffee and emergency sleep once I got back. Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to end there since she mentioned the night duty room, and I was like, okay, so now we're going to the night duty room tip. The night duty room. I don't know why, but the night duty room makes me think of Five Nights at Freddy's. It was already 8 by the time I returned to the night duty room. I had a cup of hot coffee and laid down on the bed. I turned on my back and closed my eyes. I expected to fall asleep right away, but it didn't quite work out that way. The coffee might have dispelled my drowsiness a little. I stood up, flipped the notebook lying on the table open with one hand, and had another look at the diary. It was a short thing, so I ended up going through it in no time at all. However, I had this odd feeling about it. I read through the entries again. Something was missing. Not the pages I myself tore out, of course, and it wasn't some sort of misunderstanding on my part either. I couldn't recall the exact date, but a certain episode I remembered clear as day was missing from the text. I lifted my coat off the wall hanger and took out the memo pad from its pocket. A fragment of that missing episode was jotted down on it. I had a bad feeling about this. I felt the entire clinic squirm as I touched the wall of the corridor. I took the key and hurried over to room 208. I'm so confused. As I finally reached Sachiko's room, I knocked on the door. Sachiko's room. So are they confirming that Sachiko is in the sanatorium? And that Takako is aware of this? I waited for a while but received no answer. I tried again but there was only silence. It's possible she had just fallen asleep after her bath. All I might have done here is wake her up. However, I was too worried to care about that now. I knocked again just in case. Upon receiving no answer, I unlocked and pushed the door open. An empty bed was the first thing that entered my vision. I entered the room and looked around, but she was nowhere in sight. Both the door and the window were locked. I called out her name, but was met only by silence. I even looked under the bed to make sure she wasn't just hiding somewhere. No other strange phenomena occurred though. There was not a single trace left of Sachiko's presence. Her clothes were gone and her bedsheets didn't look slept on. This was the room 208 before her arrival. I left the room and checked the bathroom, the inner yard, and the dressing room, as well as any other place I assumed Sachiko might visit. Unable to find her even after all that, I began looking for clues about her departure. That said, I couldn't imagine her leaving without letting me know. This place didn't have many exits. First, I investigated the front doors of the lobby. I turned the doorknob, but the door didn't move an inch. It was locked. Next, I checked the side exit in the west wing, but the result was the same. Finally, I went to the library through the connecting corridor. The door was once again locked. Just in case, though, I unlocked it and entered the building. I took out a pen light from my chest pocket and used it to guide my path. I descended the spiral staircase, reaching the big doors by the counter. That was the last exit that could lead outside. I tried turning the doorknob. The door let out a metallic creak, but otherwise remained motionless. The doorknob refused to budge. I left the library but couldn't think of any other place to check. I looked all over the clinic, going so far as to check every single one of the black windows. My mind kept going in circles. I wondered if I hadn't made some sort of a mistake. I kept retracing my memories, going all the way back to the first time Sachiko came here. As I gave up and returned to the night duty room, the clock had just struck 4 a.m. I tried in vain to count the hours I'd been awake for. Either way, I was at my limit. I collapsed on the tatami floor and used the closest futon as a pillow. It took me moments for my consciousness to be swallowed by darkness. The night duty room was bright when I woke up. I immediately remembered what happened the previous night. I rose to my feet and noticed the notebook I read yesterday still resting on the table. It looked like proof that I wasn't dreaming. I stretched my back and rubbed my neck. I inhaled a deep breath, then let it all out. In the end, I couldn't find Sachiko anywhere. I opened the notebook on the table. I flipped through a few pages. However, no matter where I looked, I could only find empty, white pages. It seemed like all the records had simply vanished. I calmed myself down and considered what to do next. First of all, I had to find Sachiko. And to do that, I'd have to leave this clinic. However, I had no key that would make such a feat possible. Alright, so Sachiko has disappeared. So I'm guessing Sachiko is the first person to disappear. Takako will disappear second. And then maybe Narasaki will disappear third. Because I remember Narasaki, wasn't she investigating and she disappeared and then she saw like a motionless Sachiko and Takako? Kinda weird. Alright, let's read Flower Petal. I washed my face in the sink. His cold touch bit into my skin, helping me wake up. A single flower petal circled in the whirlpool created by the drain. I scooped it out. I looked at the mirror to realize there was an empty vase in front of it. I placed the flower petal by it and wiped my face with a nearby towel. I brushed my hair, changed into a fresh set of clothes, and left the room. What? That was like one paragraph. What was that? That was the shortest tip. That reminds me of this one book that I read, and it had an entire chapter. There was one sentence. It was just like 4 words, and that was considered a chapter. A waiter in a monochrome uniform came over to my table, so I broke my gaze from the red flower in the vase. He showed me the bottle I had ordered. His attire reminded me of those models of foreigners they had in Western apparel stores. What's going on, Tracy? Are you gearing up for the holidays? What's the latest scoop? Also, I did Wind Trace earlier today on all 3 of my Genshin accounts. And I had a lot of fun. I don't know if you have been playing Wind Trace, but Wind Trace is back. And it might hands down be my favorite. It's either my favorite or second favorite Genshin event. It's tied with the rhythm game one. When I nodded, he placed 2 glasses on the table, filling them with drink. Both glasses seemed to contain the exact same amount of liquid, almost as if he had some volume calculator in his hands. Saying nothing else, the waiter left. Is that an apricot on the bottom? Sachiko asked. She was sitting in front of me. There was a large apricot on the bottom of the bottle. I nodded. This one is distilled from fermented fruit. It's pretty strong, said Sachiko as she read the label. I hear it's supposed to be sweet, so it should be easy to drink despite the strength. You've never had it before. A friend from Serbia recommended it to me when I mentioned umeshu to him. He said they had sweet alcohol there as well. Apparently it's popular in the Balkans. According to him, almost everyone had a homemade stash of it in their house. I got interested, but never had the chance to try it, until now. I didn't know you were knowledgeable about alcohol. I'm not. I just drink what people recommend to me from time to time. Admittedly though, there are few things better in life than a delicious meal and a good drink to go with it. Welcome back, Jack. I took a sip of the drink before Sachiko. Just like I'd heard, it passed through my throat like water, leaving only a fruity sweetness and a strong alcoholic warmth. Umeshu is great? Umeshu? Is that something I should try as well? Is it a type of whiskey? It's a type of liquor. And it involves ume plums and sugar. Interesting. Alright, I'm gonna keep that on my to-try list. Jack is my #1 recommender of things. Although, to be fair, you know what? Azure recommended a lot of Mexican stuff to me. I know I was able to try 2 of the things she recommended. I tried the chicken flautas, and I tried tamarind juice. But she recommended, I think, a lot more that I'm not... She has to recommend stuff to me again, basically is what I'm saying. And she's always missing nowadays. You can have it hot or cold, both are great. Do you have a preference? Like, would you recommend it one way over the other? I feel like cold would probably be easier, right? To get a hold of or have it that way. I don't know. Probably quicker. Just like I'd heard, it passed through my throat like water, leaving only a fruity sweetness and a strong alcoholic warmth. It was just the kind of taste I liked. It just might be a bit hotter in the throat than I thought. I warned Sachiko as she was about to tilt her glass. Hot is more interesting? Okay. Alright, I'll keep that in mind then. Sachiko took a small sip. Only about 1/5 of the glass. It is pretty easy to drink. She placed the glass back on the table. I felt some warmth rush to my head as I finished the glass, prompting me to order something for dessert. I wouldn't usually get drunk this fast. I didn't know whether it was because I hadn't drunk in a while, or if I was simply exhausted from work, but I figured this was a good place to stop. I can't see our office from here, but what about your clinic? Sachiko's gaze was fixed on the panorama of the city beyond the window. Countless streetlights flickered there in the distance, making the contours of the city a little difficult to make out from the bar on the 31st floor. I'm not sure, I could probably tell if it wasn't bright outside. I looked back at Sachiko, her eyes were still fixed on the nighttime cityscape. Her long black hair fell on her ears when she tilted her head, hiding them from sight. Would you like another round? I asked when I noticed that her glass was empty. Just one more then, she replied. Cold is easier to get served for sure, I figured. Sachiko picked up the glass I filled for her and took a small sip. I don't usually drink much, but I like this, and the food was pretty good too. I'd better write down the name of this place. I nodded. They've got exotic drinks, offer good snacks to go along with them, and the view is fantastic. What more could a girl want? It's just the kind of place I've been looking for lately. I can't imagine you going to a bar alone though. Yeah, I guess you have a point there, said Sachiko. When it comes to this place, I usually reserve a bottle or two in advance, so feel free to join me if you ever feel like it. That sounds almost a little too nice, or is this part of the treatment too? Perhaps. I made a thoughtful gesture. Sachiko slightly tilted her head to the side. Why did you choose this line of work, Narasaki? I've wanted to be a doctor ever since I was a kid. I forgot why though. Wasn't it difficult to get there though? I imagine you had to study a lot. I don't think I feel as strongly about personal preferences as the average person. I never considered studying to be particularly boring, nor did I ever feel like doing anything else. Maybe my own insensitivity is what made me want to learn more about how the minds of others worked. Sachiko's eyes grew incredulous for a moment, then wandered to my empty glass. I think I've had enough for the night, I said, then changed the subject by asking if she was enjoying her current job. After that, we spent some time discussing work. Umeshu. Water game. Alright, is this where we get the lewds? Once we'd paid our bill, we stepped outside into the cold night. I noticed Sachiko staggering while I was adjusting the position of my scarf. I caused her arm out of reflex. Was that a bit too much for you? No, I'm fine. I didn't realize how hot I was until I got outside, but I'm okay now. It was close to midnight, but the neon signs all around us made the night hardly any darker than the middle of the day. As we were passing by the park near the station, we spotted a fully decorated Christmas tree. They're getting a bit ahead of themselves, aren't they? I remember seeing Halloween decorations here just a few weeks ago. It's nice to have something to look forward to. Something to look forward to, huh? After that, we passed through the station gates and ascended to the train platform. There weren't that many people there at this hour. Sachiko's scarf hid half of her face, but I could still see her exhaling white breaths. You remember all your Christmas presents from previous years? Not really. I remember getting lots of clothes when I was little though. Oh really? What kind? I recall a frilly skirt and some dress with tons of ribbons. I wanted more clothes that were easy to move in, like the ones Sakako used to wear, so I remember not being very happy with my presents. Your parents probably wanted you to grow up into the kind of lady those clothes would fit. Sachiko's clouded expression suddenly cleared up. One time I remember getting this weird toy from Takako. It was a small transparent box with water, where you had to get rings on a big coral by pushing a button that created a stream inside and swept everything around. Oh, I know that one. I've seen something like that at my hairdresser's. Sachiko nodded. Now that you mention it, I do recall spotting them at a number of barbershops. It's a great time killer, kinda like puzzle rings and journals. I tried recalling more details about that toy as the train passed by us on the opposite lane, but couldn't remember much besides the fact that it was there. They were everywhere. I wonder if the union recommended them or something. I think it was just a fad. Lots of oddities were popular back then. A fad. Was there anything else like it? Well, there was a spring that could climb down the stairs, then a fishing game, where the fish would keep opening and closing their mouth, and all sorts of driving games that came with actual wheels and gears. I also remember a flower that would react to sounds. Those are all toys. I like them. Some people call me childish because of that, but I don't care. I know all the ones you listed, by the way. Be careful with that. People will find out how old you are. I don't mind, and it makes me happy to remember those things. I see. I've always made fun of fads, but it's nice to share a memory with someone. You don't see that many crazy fads these days. Now that you mention it, why do you think that is? There's a huge variety of toys nowadays, so people usually get the ones they like and ignore the others. I glanced up at the electric board one more time to check the scheduled time of our arrival for our train. Sachiko regarded the lane with drowsy eyes. But considering your line of work, wouldn't you know more about fads than me? I suppose so. And what you said is basically how I felt as well. Most of our work consists of making ads for products, and most of them are geared toward a specific group of people. Unusual designs that stand out tend to be more popular at first compared to traditional ones, but they go out of style sooner. It's become harder and harder to make something that would appeal to everyone. I see. I saw the lights of the train appear at the end of the lane. Have you ever considered how an increase in all these material things that serve as distractions led to a deterioration of our imagination? I might have. I see you're past your prime. What? Why? That didn't sound like you at all. Really? Old you would have said something along the lines of so what? Maybe I'm just drunk. Maybe you are. The train stopped in front of us and opened its doors. Sachiko had her eyes closed, staying silent for most of the trip. I decided to escort her to the entrance of her apartment as we reached the station nearest to her home. Naturally, Sachiko refused at first, but I wouldn't relent. After seeing her off, I considered walking to the clinic instead of taking the train again. I passed a few creepy alleyways along the way and arrived at the clinic in just under 30 minutes. I unlocked the outside doors and entered the dark corridor. I continued down to the night duty room with confident steps. It was pitch dark inside the room, but I knew every single nook and cranny of the place, so it posed no problem. I unfastened my hair, washed my face, got changed, and laid down on my futon. Lying on my back, I adjusted the height of the pillow and closed my eyes. I thought about what I had discussed with Sachiko. Then I remembered a patient that used to frequent this place. The way Sachiko acted today reminded me of that same patient. So are they saying that Narasaki's clinic is the sanatorium? Because the sanatorium presumably has the night duty room, and Sachiko's clinic apparently might have a night duty room? This is becoming very interesting. Okay. I guess that concludes this stream. Next Saturday, we will be streaming. Next Saturday is the 31st, New Year's Eve. But that's perfectly fine. Next Saturday, we'll be streaming Seabed Chapter 6. Tomorrow, I'll be streaming Ender Lilies. We gotta find the last poneglyph and then reform the amulet of Aegis, whatever, something. And then, yeah, and then throughout the week, hopefully, if I'm feeling well, because, like, obviously I haven't been feeling 100%, but I'm trying to hang in there. If I'm feeling well, I have a stream planned for every day this week. Yesterday I canceled. But yeah, Ender Lilies hopefully tomorrow, and then a bunch of other games that I've never streamed before throughout the week. Seabed again Saturday. So, hopefully things to look forward to. By the way, yes, I'm ready for holidays. Almost about to eat. Oh, man. Yeah, send on the GC. You can't even send it on the GC. Coast deleted the group chat. Send the food pic in my Discord in the foodie channel. Coast betrayed us. Good stream. Next one will be a doozy for sure. And, oh, and it'll be on New Year's, I see. It might be, basically, yeah. But yeah, definitely, I don't care. I'm gonna stream next week. I mean, it's not like I'm partying for New Year's or anything. I don't really celebrate New Year's. I'll probably just drink a little bit of my sake and that'll be it for New Year's. But yeah, thanks for popping in, guys. Jack, has been very fun chatting with you about all these Japanese foods and everything, and our dietary lifestyles and all that. Looking forward to chatting with you again next week, or if you pop in during the week as well. Tracy, looking forward to seeing your food pics and hearing more about how your holidays go. I don't know if Azure is still here lurking or anything, but have a nice night, Azure, if you're still here, and Mr. as well, if you're still here. Until next time, guys, eat well, sleep well, take care of yourselves.